Chapter 148. Leaving the DeLong building, Lu Chen and Lu Shi took a taxi back to the studio. Lu Shi asked curiously, "What's the matter with that director Wen? Why is he so polite to you?" Shi and Lu Chen came to EMI together to sign the contract. After signing it, they waited in the reception room and didn't go to the listening room, so they didn't know what happened later. Just now, when Wen Ziyuan sent the two out, he was simply very polite. It could even be said to have reached the point of flattery. This made Lu Shi feel very strange. The change in attitude of the head of the brokerage department of EMI was too big. Lu Chen chuckled and briefly explained the grievances between Wen Ziyuan and Zhang Qiong. This was what Wen Ziyuan himself told Lu Chen. After listening, Lu Shi suddenly realized, it turns out to be like this. Others say that the workplace is dangerous, it's really, she couldn't help shaking her head. Lu Chen has always been unwilling to sign a contract with other big companies, and even declined the personal invitation of the music director of Flying Stone Records. At that time, she more or less didn't understand. Now that she thought about it, Lu Chen's choice was really right. EMI definitely can't be compared with Flying Stone Records, and the internal intrigue is also so fierce. If she and Lu Chen entered Flying Stone Records, she didn't know what kind of situation they would face. Lu Shi has a strong personality and doesn't like to fight with others. Although Lu Chen's own studio is weak, there is no such problem at all. The premise is that he can make so much money. Drop. Drop. All of a sudden, Lu Shi's cell phone in her small bag rang twice. She took it out and looked at it, and immediately showed a happy smile. The money from EMI has arrived. So fast. Lu Chen was also surprised. He and Lu Shi just went out, and the money caught up with them. Isn't the efficiency too high? The originally signed contract stipulated that the payment should be completed within 3 days. Lu Shi said with a smile, "It seems that they attach great importance to you. If they don't attach importance to it, it's impossible for the finance of EMI to allocate the money to the account so quickly." The higher-ups must have spoken. Lu Chen smiled. "If they want more songs in the future, we'll have to raise the price again." His insistence on the high-priced boutique strategy from the beginning was undoubtedly the right one. Customers like EMI, as long as they taste the sweetness, and then slowly increase the price later, they can bear it like boiling a frog in warm water. If the price was low at the beginning, it would not be good to raise it too high all of a sudden. It would easily ruin his reputation. Lu Shi was speechless. She realized that she couldn't see through her brother anymore. Beep. Beep. His phone rang again. Lu Shi took a closer look and smiled again. She smiled even more happily. Lu Chen was stunned. What? Lu Shi waved her phone and said proudly, "The bonus from Beijing Television has arrived, 4 million yuan. Lu Chen won the championship of Singing China. Although he gave up 4 million yuan of so-called New Star Training Fund, the total cash reward was still as high as 4 million yuan, and it was after tax. However, the money was not immediately received at that time, and the satellite TV also needed to go through the procedures. Now that it has arrived, it's just double happiness." Lu Chen was even happier and said without hesitation, "Then transfer 1 million yuan to Mom first, and let's go buy a car." He shouted to the taxi driver in front of him, "Sir, please take us to Jingwan Auto City." Lu Shi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is there a need to be in such a hurry? It's no problem to send money to his mother, but it's too much of a rush to buy a car now. Lu Chen said with a smile, "It's all the same to buy it sooner or later. It's just right to buy it now." Since the establishment of the studio, several staff members have been recruited, and the daily work has gradually become busy. It's really inconvenient to have no car to travel, and it also delays time. Time is money. He has long wanted to buy a car, and was waiting for the bonus from Beijing television to arrive. Since Lu Chen has made up his mind, Lu Shi has no objection. After all, the studio relies on him to make money, and now that he has made so much money, buying a car is not a big deal. Lu Shi thought for a moment and said, "Then I will call Li Feiyu. He used to work in the 4S store, and he must know the business." Lu Chen nodded, "Okay." When they arrived at Jingguan Auto City, Li Feiyu was already waiting at the gate. The 4S store where he used to work was in Auto City, and he is absolutely familiar with the road. There is no reason for him to be cheated. Seeing Lu Chen and Lu Shi, Peter Pan ran over with a smile and asked eagerly, "De Chin, you are finally going to buy a car. I have been looking forward to this day. Have you thought about what car to buy?" He is Lu Chen's assistant, and the car must be bought by him. Lu Chen said, "We don't need to buy a good car, not a luxury car, just an economical one." As for the price, he thought for a moment and said, "About 200,000 yuan. Help me have a look, 200,000 yuan. Li Feiyu scratched his head and said, "At this price, then choose a domestic compact SUV, a gasoline-electric hybrid. The state subsidies are very high. Not only is it fuel efficient, but the configuration is equivalent to an imported car of 400,000 yuan. Lu Chen said with a smile, "You are the expert. I will listen to you." He got a driver's license when he was 18 years old and drove his family's car. He liked cars, but he didn't know much about them. His career has just started, so there is no need to buy a good car, but it can't be too bad. A high-quality domestic car should be a good choice. Lu Shi said, "Then you go ahead and choose first. I'll go to the bank and finish the transfer." So they parted ways. Lu Chen followed Li Feiyu to wander around Car City to choose a car, and looked at several shops in a row. Finally, they came to the 4S store of Zhonghua Automobile. A white SUV placed in front of the door immediately attracted Lu Chen's attention. The shape of this car is very good. The appearance is atmospheric and exquisite. The split front face and arc headlights are perfectly integrated, giving people a feeling of power. Li Feiyu recognized it at a glance, Zhonghua X7. This new car has already been on the market. As soon as the two stood in front of the new car, a salesperson from the 4S store immediately came to introduce it to them enthusiastically. This Zhonghua X7 is a new urban SUV that has just been launched by Zhonghua Automobile. It is an environmentally friendly gasoline-electric hybrid. It combines a number of the latest technologies and has quite high technical content. In addition to the efficient and fuel-efficient power system, its configuration is also very good. It has front and rear radars, intelligent cruise, onboard computer, panoramic skylight, leather seats, and so on, and the interior space is spacious enough. The biggest feature of gasoline-electric hybrid is fuel saving. The fuel consumption of 100 kilometers is very low. Of course, there is a gap between the power performance and traditional power, but Lu Chen does not race or go off-road. It is enough to run in the city. The most important thing is that the safety configuration of this car is in place. The frame is strong and material, and it is equipped with 6 airbags. If Lu Shi drives it, he can rest assured. In addition, among domestic cars, Zhonghua is a well-known brand, and its quality has always been reliable. As for the price, it is 190,000 to 290,000 according to the configuration. For this new car, Li Feiyu was full of praise, and Lu Chen was also very satisfied, so he asked the salesperson to arrange a test drive and drove Zhonghua X7 around Car City. When he drove back to the 4S store, Lu Shi also came over. Her sister has no requirements for the car, as long as Lu Chen likes it. She and Li Feiyu bargained the price together. Lu Chen finally decided to buy a comfortable configuration. After subsidies, the price of the naked car was 245,000. In the end, the price of the car was not reduced, but the 4S store added about 20,000 worth of interior and service, and small gifts. The price of the whole car plus insurance and purchase tax and other expenses was 263,000. After paying by card on the spot, they applied for insurance and temporary license plates, and directly took out the new car from the 4S store. In the middle of the time, the three also had a late lunch together. The color of the car was white. She was very satisfied except that she was a little worried that it would get dirty easily. The three of them went back together and drove this new car. The driver was Li Feiyu. Chen saw that he liked this car very much, so he generously gave up the right to drive. Li Feiyu drove the new car on the overpass in high spirits and said, "Chen, now that you have a studio and a car, you can consider buying a house in Beijing. How can a big star live in the office?" Chen gave up his original single apartment to his sister, and he has been living in the studio. He was going to find another small apartment near the park. As for buying a house by himself, Chen said with a wry smile, "I really can't afford a house in Beijing now. Let's talk about it in a few years." His first consideration was to pay off all his family's debts. Buying a house was really a long time in the future. Although Chen is making a lot of money now, according to his own estimation, if there is no accident, it will take at least next year to pay off his family's debts. However, compared with the despair that could not be paid off in a lifetime before, now it is already a great happiness. As for buying a house, the house in Beijing is the highest in the country, and the average price is almost breaking through the sky. He has just earned more than 1 million yuan. Even if he doesn't use all of it to buy a house, he can choose a new house in a good location. It is far from enough for the down payment. It is said that the biggest dream of many third or fourth tier star artists is to save enough money to buy a suite in Beijing's Fifth Ring Road. The income of third or fourth tier artists is not too bad, but the usual expenses are also high. Buying a house is really a luxury. Li Feiyu sighed, "Yes, the house is too expensive. I have to go home sooner or later." Chen said with a smile, "Are you going back with Xiaomei's sister?" Li Feiyu smiled. Since Chen Xiaomei started working in the studio, Li Feiyu's pursuit seemed to have some results. They talked and laughed all the way, and they were about to arrive at the park. At this time, Chen's phone rang. It was Chen Jinhao who called. He asked Chen to go to a tea house in the university town. So Chen asked Li Feiyu to drive to the studio first, and then drove to the place Chen Jinhao said. When they found the place, it was already 2:00 in the afternoon. Chapter 149. Chen had never thought that there would be such a private tea house hidden in the shade of trees in the bustling downtown area near the university town. He couldn't find the location even with the GPS of his new car. In the end, he called Chen Jinhao and finally found the right place with the latter's guidance, so he spent a lot of time on the road. This tea house was located in the depths of a secluded alley. It was a large courtyard house with a long history. Behind the courtyard house was the lakeside park, surrounded by towering trees and lush greenery. The old walls were covered with green vines and dotted with wildflowers. It was a quiet and elegant scene. Such a courtyard house was estimated to be worth hundreds of millions of yuan in the capital, but it was actually used to open a tea house. The building inside the tea house had obviously been renovated and was decorated in an antique style. Entering the tea house, the sound of the stringed instrument could wash away people's worries. Under the guidance of the waiter, Chen came to a private room. There were already 4 guests in the private room, and Chen Jinhao was one of them. The other 3 were old men in their 60s or 70s. They were wearing long gowns and cloth shoes and were sitting opposite each other, drinking tea and chatting. Compared with these elegant old men, Chen Jinhao was undoubtedly a junior, so he was very respectful. Seeing Chen come in, he immediately got up and said, "Xiao Lu is here. Let me introduce you to some seniors." The three old men turned their heads and looked at Lu Qin. Lu Qin was stunned. Because he knew one of the old men, the one he often met when he was exercising in the riverside park. Brother Kenho, Lu Qin first greeted Qin Jinhao, then said with a smile, "Hello, old man, long time no see." The old man was also surprised to see Lu Qin, then snorted and said, "What a coincidence." He seemed to still be holding a grudge against Lu Qin. Qin Jinhao was surprised. "Xiao Lu, do you know Professor Qin? This old man is actually a professor." Lu Qin nodded. "I know him, but I didn't know the old man's name before." Relieved, Qin Jinhao smiled. "Then, I'll give you an official introduction." This old man, who Lu Qin had met many times in the past, was Qin Pu, a retired Peking University Chinese literature professor. Sitting on the left of Professor Zhang was an old man in a green shirt, Gao Yu. He was a professor at the Beijing Conservatory of Music's composition department and was about to retire. And the old man with a big white beard on the right is actually the famous director Zhang Wendian. Lu Qin was very unfamiliar with the two professors, Qin Pu and Gao Yu. He had never heard of their names before. But the name of director Zhang Wendian is like thunder in the ears. He once directed two big dramas, Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Water Margin, in the 1990s, which created a record of TV ratings at that time. He has also directed many costume blockbusters. He is good at historical and military-themed films and has won many awards. He is a highly respected senior in the industry, but in recent years, he has been quiet, and there have been no new works. Many young people may not know much about Zhang Wendian, but Lu Qin is definitely not one of them. He has watched Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Water Margin more than once at home. So now seeing Zhang Wendian, he really feels like seeing his idol. Of course, whether it is to Zhang Wendian, Qin Pu, or Gao Yu, Lu Qin is very respectful and polite. The two seniors still have a good impression of Lu Qin's respectful attitude. Qin Pu said to Zhang Wendian, "This kid is the one I took a picture of that day and showed you, the one who blindly practiced boxing." Zhang Wendian suddenly said, "I remember, this young man practices Wing Chun, but the routine is a bit wrong." He smiled at Lu Qin and said, "Few young people nowadays like Chinese martial arts. They all practice boxing and taekwondo introduced from abroad. If you like to learn martial arts, I can introduce you to a master. Boxing and taekwondo are both Olympic events. They are very competitive, so they have a great influence around the world. In particular, taekwondo is very popular for a time. Many parents in China send their children to learn it to strengthen their body and sharpen their will, leading to the blossoming of taekwondo dojo in various cities. In contrast, traditional Chinese martial arts routines are serious, biased towards ornamental and artistic, and not many people learn it. Sanda, which is derived from martial arts, focuses on competition and actual combat, but the moves are too fierce and fierce. Like freestyle and Muay Thai, it is not popular with ordinary people. The boxing technique that Lu Qin practices comes from Mo Ran's memory. The development of inheritance is different from that of this world, and it is not practiced blindly. But Zhang Wendian is completely kind, so he thanked him. "Thank you, Director Zhang." Qin Jinhao didn't know that Lu Qin also knows martial arts, and he was a little surprised when he heard it. But he didn't forget the business. He interjected to Gao Yu and said, "Uncle Gao, Xiao Lu wants to go to Jingyin to attend a lecture. Please help him." Gao Yu said with a smile, "Since Jinhao has spoken, it's not good for me, as an uncle, not to agree." He took out a business card and a pen, and quickly wrote a few lines of small words and signature in the blank space on the back of the business card. After writing, Gao Yu handed the business card to Lu Qin and said, "Take it and contact Director Lu in the Academic Affairs office. Director Lu's phone number is on it. He will handle it for you." Lu Qin didn't expect things to be solved so easily. He quickly said, "Thank you, Professor Gao." The more he learned about music, the more he felt his own shortcomings. Therefore, Lu Qin has long had the idea of studying in a higher education institution. Of course, he doesn't have the qualifications to apply for the examination. Attending classes has become the best choice, and his actions and time are very free. It's just that it's not so easy to get a pass from key universities like Jingyin and Beiying, so Lu Qin asked Chen Jinhao for help and asked if anyone he knew could get this pass. As a result, Chen Jinhao introduced him to 2 professors and a director. This favor was really not small. Gao Yu smiled gently. You don't have to be so polite. You are very talented in composition and write songs well. As a professor of the composition department of Jingyin, Gao Yu has no prejudice against pop music. When Chen Jinhao mentioned this to him before, he asked about Lu Chen's origin and listened to several of Lu Chen's works, and appreciated the latter's talent. Such a young man was not confused by the vanity of the entertainment industry, and still wanted to learn to enrich himself, which was worth encouraging. Otherwise, Gao Yu may not be willing to help so readily. After all, he has to bear the responsibility for handling a pass for Lu Qin. Zhang Wendian was surprised. Does Xiao Lu make music? Gao Yu replied, yes. Have you heard of In the Spring? This song was written by him. In the Spring. Zhang Wendian was even more surprised. Was this song written by Xiao Lu? Although the older director doesn't pay much attention to the entertainment industry, nor does he like current pop music, he has really heard the song, In the Spring, more than once. Because his youngest son likes this song very much and often plays and sings it by himself at home with his guitar in his arms. Zhang Wendian didn't expect that this extremely vicissitudes of work was actually created by the young man in front of him. Gao Yu said with a smile, I didn't expect it either, but this work was indeed written by Xiao Lu. Zhang Wendian sighed. It's true that the waves ahead push the waves behind, and the new generation surpasses the old. Although he was surprised, he didn't question Lu Chen's idea at all, because there was no need for that at all. Chen Pu suddenly said, Old Zhang, aren't you having a headache about the theme song of the movie? Let him give you some advice. Zhang Wendian was caught off guard. Gao Yu agreed, yes, brainstorming. We're all old. We should listen to the voices of young people more. Zhang Wendian couldn't help laughing. It's as if everyone has become an antique. Well, let's listen to it. He said to Lu Qin, Xiao Lu, here's the thing. At first, Lu Qin was a little puzzled, but he soon understood. It turned out that Zhang Wendian was recently preparing to make a big movie, which was about the tragic story of the Opium War in the late Qing dynasty, when the Qing court was corrupt and the foreign powers invaded, and the righteous people rose up to resist, which awakened the national spirit. The screenplay has been written, and it is currently in the stage of preparation for filming. However, Zhang Wendian encountered a problem in the selection of the theme song of the movie. He was not satisfied with the choice of more than a dozen songs, which did not meet his requirements. Most directors add the soundtrack in the later stage after the shooting. Zhang Wendian's habits are different. He attaches great importance to the soundtrack. In the early stage, he must determine the style and tone of the soundtrack, which also includes the theme song. In the opinion of this great director, the theme song of a movie is the best representative of the connotation and idea of the movie. A good theme song can greatly enhance the charm of the movie, which is as important as the script. The problem is that his requirements are very high, and as a result, the theme song has been delayed. Although it is said that finding songs and shooting can be carried out at the same time, Zhang Wendian has always been thinking about it. Today, he had tea with his 2 old friends, Chen Pu and Gao Yu, and asked them to help give some advice. The 2 professors, one writing lyrics and the other composing music, have cooperated on works before, and maybe they can solve the problem. Chen Pu and Gao Yu are happy to help, but neither of them is very sure that they can write a work that meets Zhang Wendian's mind. What they talked about just now was the theme song. Chen Jinhao happened to be here at the right time. Because of his relationship with Gao Yu, he occupied a place here. As for Lu Chen, who has just come over, he was even more lucky. Under normal circumstances, it is difficult for him to see Zhang Wendian. How can he sit down and communicate with the latter? Zhang Wendian said that, but it was more to pour out the depression in his heart. He didn't expect Lu Chen to provide any useful advice at all. What he didn't expect was that Lu Chen pondered for a moment after listening and said, "Director Zhang, I have a work that may meet your requirements." What? Zhang Wendian wondered if he had heard wrong. Not only him, but Chen Pu and Gao Yu also showed a look of surprise. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. Chapter 150. He's too impatient. When Qin Jinhao heard Lu Chen say that there was a work that met Zhang Wendian's requirements, he screamed in his heart. Lu Chen obviously lost his composure in front of this great director and was too eager to show himself. A professor in the composition department of Beijing Conservatory of Music and a professor in the Chinese department of Peking University, two mentor-level figures working together, were not sure that they could come up with a work that could satisfy Zhang Wendian. Lu Chen actually dared to boast here. Qin Jinhao blushed a little. Qin Jinhao called Lu Chen over today mainly for the sake of the permit. He and Gao Yu are distant relatives, so he calls the other party uncle. Their relationship is not very deep. It's not a big problem to help with the permit. Zhang Wendian's presence was completely coincidental. Lu Chen can get familiar with this great director, which is very good for him to gain a foothold in the entertainment industry, and even to enter the film and television industry in the future. But Qin Jinhao never dreamed that Lu Chen would be so eager for quick success and instant benefits. Of course, he thinks that he can understand Lu Chen's mind. In the pan-entertainment industry, the status and position of an artist are closely related to their profession. Generally speaking, movie actors have the highest prestige. If they can become a movie king or movie queen with enough gold, they will be a well-deserved big shot in the circle and be respected by everyone. Although singers may have more popularity than many actors, they are really worse in terms of prestige. Therefore, after many singers became famous, they desperately drilled into the film and television circle and became the so-called triple perch star. Like those new generation of idols, after their debut, they like to shoot TV dramas the most. No matter how melodramatic the plot is, they will also play it with relish. For a supporting role that appears in a few episodes, they can turn the world upside down. It's unknown how much gossip has been created. Therefore, no newcomer can maintain a normal mentality in front of Zhang Wendian. If you can get the favor of this great director, even if you show your face in his blockbuster, it's worth hype. It's just that understanding is one thing, Qin Jinhao still feels disappointed. Gao Yu's favorable impression of Lu Chen also fell from 3 points to 1 point in an instant. Saying that Lu Chen was a newborn calf that was not afraid of tigers was just being polite. Saying that he did not know the immensity of heaven and earth was the correct way to put it. Zhang Wendian was, after all, an experienced man. After the surprise, he quickly looked indifferent, nodded and picked up the teacup. Actually, he did not think much of it. He didn't ask about Lu Chen's work and clearly expressed his attitude. Chen Pu revealed a faint smile and said, "Really? Then why don't you sing it for us old fellows?" He was the only one who was willing to give Lu Chen a chance, even if his tone was full of ridicule. Lu Chen knew very well that his words had aroused the disgust of the seniors. But since he dared to say it, he naturally had the confidence. After some thought, Lu Chen picked up the sterilized chopsticks on the tea table and took out a pair of bamboo chopsticks from the paper sleeve. He pinched the tip of the chopsticks with the thumb and index finger of his right hand, and said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "This junior will show my incompetence." As soon as his voice fell, the chopsticks hit the table at the same time. He used the chopsticks as a hammer and the table as a drum, and the sonorous sound of the prelude was beaten, accompanied by the rhythm of singing and roaring. Pride confronts 10,000 waves, hot blood is like the red sun. Courage is made of iron, bones are like fine steel, mind is thousands of zhang, vision is 10,000 li long, I will work hard to be strong, be a good man. Lu Chen had only sung a few words, and the expressions of the two professors and Zhang Wendian changed. Chen Pu was stunned. Gao Yu was surprised. And director Zhang suddenly opened his eyes wide. He stared at Lu Chen, as if he had found some treasure. Zhang Wendian is a very stubborn person, stubborn to the extent of paranoia. He has very strict requirements for his career. Whether it is shooting TV series or movies, he has never been sloppy. If he can do 10% of the work, he will never only spend 90% of his strength to complete it. In 1991, Zhang Wendian started shooting Art of the Three Kingdoms, which was not finished until 1994. The crew of hundreds of people traveled across most of China for 3 years, collecting countless scenes and setting innumerable scenes. The costumes, props, and buildings involved in the film were all strictly in accordance with historical facts, leading to a big overrun in the final budget, which made the investors overwrought and almost declared the project unfinished. But at the end of the shooting, it was broadcasted in the primetime program of Central TV, creating a ratings record of 89.35%. Although at that time, the major satellite TV stations had not yet released a shadow, it was still a miracle. Shooting a TV series is like this, not to mention shooting a movie. Zhang Wendian's seriousness and persistence often make the investors want to cry but have no tears. After 2000, several movies he made lost money because of this, and gradually became silent. However, a skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. In the film and television circle, Zhang Wendian is still a big shot. This time, after 10 years of dormancy, he is also full of ambition, and wants to be popular in both word of mouth and box office. The stubborn side of this great director was once again exposed. When the script has long been completed, and the crew and actors are all in place, he has not started shooting because the theme song has not been chosen, which really makes people speechless. But Zhang Wendian himself doesn't think so. What he wants is a feeling. When the feeling is in place, the shooting will naturally be as smooth as moving clouds and flowing water. Otherwise, it will seem like a lack of soul and can't shoot what he really wants. The theme song is the soul of this movie. Zhang Wendian personally found 4 or 5 songwriters to write the theme song for the movie. In all fairness, the quality of these works is good, but none of them can satisfy Zhang Wendian. In desperation, he found 2 old friends, hoping to gain something. As a result, what Zhang Wendian didn't expect was that a newcomer in the circle who happened to meet him actually said that his work was suitable, and even dared to sing it on the spot. At the beginning, director Zhang really took the idea of watching a joke, thinking that Lu Chen was here to amuse and relieve boredom. However, he was shocked. Lu Chen's accompaniment with chopsticks was almost child's play. He lowered his voice and didn't sing loudly, but as soon as he opened his voice, the majestic atmosphere and hot-blooded atmosphere contained in the lyrics and melody hit him in the face, instantly shocking his soul. Different from Chen Pu and Gao Yu, the 2 professors were just simply surprised, and didn't say how excited or anything else. Zhang Wendian was really shocked. What he has been searching for is precisely this feeling, which is exactly the charm contained in this song. Bang! The next moment, Zhang Wendian slammed the table and stood up, his eyes wide open. Stop. His slap was very hard. If it weren't for the exquisite workmanship of the tea table in the private room and the weight was extremely heavy, the tea bowls placed on it would have been knocked over. Lu Chen was startled and immediately stopped roaring. That's right, this song needs to be roared out with breath, otherwise it can't be sung at all. No, no. Zhang Wendian bowed his head thoughtfully and walked back and forth a few steps, as if trying to find something. Chen Pu and Gao Yu looked at each other, not knowing what was wrong with the great director. Lu Chen's work sounded very interesting at the beginning, but it wasn't enough to make him lose his composure like this, right? Gao Yu asked with a smile, "Young man, did you use the tone of general's order in this song?" The professor of Jingyin composition department had a little guilty in his heart. Just now, he thought that Lu Qin was trying to impress the public and wanted to be in the limelight. Only now did he know that the latter was really talented. Lu Qin quickly replied, "Yes, Professor Gao." Gao Yu asked again, "What's the name of the song?" "A man should strengthen himself." In Lu Chen's dream world, this song can be called a classic movie theme song. Its influence is so great that it overwhelmed all works of the same type. It was created by a character who can be regarded as a master. In his memory, the one who likes this song the most is not Su Bo, nor Mo Ran, but Fang Mingyi. A man should strengthen himself. Gao Yu repeated it and praised, "Good name, good song." Chen Pu also nodded, "The lyrics are better." At first glance, the lyrics of this song sound very rough, full of the atmosphere of Jianghu. However, with the accompaniment of the melody of the tune, it has been greatly sublimated, making people's blood boil and full of chivalry. It's all good. At this time, Zhang Wendian finally came back to his senses. He said loudly, "The only bad thing is the accompaniment. This song should be played with a big drum to have the real flavor." The great director stared at Lu Qin with eager eyes. "You sing it again, sing it completely, and accompany it with a drum. Hitting it with chopsticks is simply an insult to this work." Lu Qin was powerless to complain. This is a quiet and elegant tea house. Where can there be a big drum instrument? But he really underestimated this tea house called Yumming Tea Garden. Chen Jinhao called the waiter and said the request to borrow the drum. The latter did not show the slightest surprise or embarrassment, and quickly took the order and left. After instructing the waiter, Chen Jinhao looked at Lu Qin with a very strange look in his eyes. "You hit it deep enough. As the saying goes, if you don't make a sound, you will amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. This is probably the case." Lu Qin noticed Chen Jinhao's gaze and could only smile bitterly. He didn't expect to play so big. Just now, it was entirely because he had heard the movie script described by Zhang Wendian. The song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself," appeared in his memory, and he didn't think too much about it. This song is very suitable for the plot, and director Zhang Wendian's masterpiece will not disgrace the classic. Unexpectedly, Zhang Wendian's reaction was so intense. Of course, at this point, Lu Qin is also calm. He doesn't expect to get a role in Zhang Wendian's movie with a song. As long as he establishes a friendly cooperative relationship with this great director, it will already be a great benefit. Tien, that's right. Moreover, composing a movie theme song can greatly enhance the pretentiousness. The pretentiousness in the circle represents the status and value. The higher Lu Chen's pretentiousness is, the more valuable his works will be. Such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he will never miss it. After about 10 minutes, 2 waiters came to the private room with a drum. Along with them was a beautiful woman in a Han costume. Chapter 151. The woman in Han costume was in her 20s. She was wearing an ivory white embroidered button-down jacket, a milky white satin-embroidered lily skirt that dragged the floor, 2 bunches of black and smooth hair hung straight to the waist, and her hair was tied up in a unique double bun. This was a very popular retro dress. A well-made women's Han costume was expensive, and it was not easy to wear a real ancient charm. Appearance, figure, and temperament were indispensable. But for this woman, it was not a problem at all. She seemed to be a figure coming out of an ancient painting of a lady. Her skin was as white as snow, her face was as beautiful as jade, her eyebrows were elegant, her eyes were like stars, and her temperament was elegant and cold, which made people have the idea that they could only watch from a distance and not dare to play with her. When she stepped into the elegant room, the whole room seemed to add a touch of brightness. "Ha!" Seeing the woman in Han costume, Gao Yu asked in surprise, "Qing Qing, why are you here?" The woman in Han costume bowed politely and said, "Hello, Professor Gao, Professor Qin, Director Zhang, and Uncle Qin." She greeted the four guests in one breath, and her pretty eyes finally fell on Lu Qin. There was a little curiosity and scrutiny. Chen Pu and Zhang Wendian both nodded with a smile. Chen Jinhao exclaimed, "Qin Qing is getting more and more beautiful. If you continue to be beautiful, I'm afraid that no one will be worthy of you in the future." Qin Qing pursed her lips and said with a chuckle, "Uncle Qin only knows how to make people happy. It's not that exaggerated." Her voice was pleasant to the ear, like jade beads rolling on a gold plate. It made people feel very comfortable when they heard it and fell into their hearts. But her smile was like a flash in the pan, and immediately returned to its original elegance. Chen Jinhao said to Lu Qin, "Xiao Lu, this is Qin Qing. She studies folk music in Jingyin. You can go to Jingyin to attend classes in the future. If you encounter anything, you can ask her for help." Lu Qin got up and said, "Hello, I'm Lu Qin, Lu from the mainland, and Qin from the morning." Qin Qing nodded, "Hello." Her expression was light, and she had an indescribable temperament. After greeting them, Qin Qing said to Gao Yu, "Professor Gao, I heard that you want a big drum here. There is only one drum in our tea garden. I don't know if it meets the requirements." Gao Yu smiled generously and said, "Yes, there is a song that needs accompaniment. The taiji drum is also fine." Taiji drum was a type of taiji drum. Taiji drum originated in China and was carried forward after it was introduced to Japan. In modern times, it returned to China. It was mainly divided into taiji drum, heping drum, and xiao drum. Usually, it was called taiji drum, zhong drum, and xiao drum. What the two attendants brought over was a daitai drum. This type of drum had holes all around it and a red string wrapped around it. There was also a wooden stick perpendicular to the drum's surface. It was most suitable for men to play. Qin Qing's eyes lit up and she asked, "Then can I listen in here?" Zhang Wendian said with a smile, "We can't wait for you to come. After listening to it, Xiao Qin, you can also give us some advice." Qin Qing replied very seriously, "Okay." She sat down in the corner of the room, where a zither was placed. Zhang Wendian couldn't wait to say to Lu Qin, "Xiao Lu, let's do it again." Lu Qin nodded and picked up the drumsticks. He had never played this kind of taiji drum before, but he had seen others play it and knew that the method was very particular. Fortunately, he only used drums to accompany it, and didn't need much skill. Immediately, he held the drumsticks in both hands and hit the prelude. Even if it wasn't a Chinese drum, the sound of a real leather drum was not comparable to that of the chopsticks just now. The short prelude made people feel their blood boiling. Singing again, Lu Qin did not deliberately lower his voice. "Pride faces the waves of 10,000 waves, hot blood is like the red sun. Courage is like iron and bones are like fine steel, mind is thousands of zhang, vision is 10,000 li long, I will work hard to be a good man. Be a good man, be self-reliant every day, a hot-blooded man shines brighter than the sun." In Lu Chen's dream world, this classic theme song is inseparable from a series of martial arts movies. It can be said to be the pinnacle of the work. The lyrics are full of the hot-blooded spirit of a heroic man. It is adapted from an ancient song, General Ling. Both the melody and the lyrics are very imposing, revealing a kind of majesty of a monarch descending to the world, and the surging passion can shock every listener at once. The melody in the song is soul-stirring. To say that it is imposing, this qi is not only the imposing manner of the song, but more importantly, it shows the national courage of the descendants of China and the awe-inspiring righteousness between heaven and earth. When these qi are combined, it gives birth to the most exciting and majestic soundtrack in Chinese movies at that time. Recalling the plot of the movie in his dream, Lu Chen's momentum suddenly rose, and his emotions were completely integrated into it. He sang with more power. Let the sea and the sky gather energy for me to open up the sky and the earth for my ideals. Look at the tall and strong blue waves, then look at the vast blue sky. I am a man, I should be self-reliant. Step forward and stick out your chest, let everyone be a pillar and a good man, use my 100 points of heat to shine 1,000 points of light. Be a good man, hot blood and intestines brighter than the sun. The elegant atmosphere in the tea room was instantly destroyed by Lu Chen's drumming and singing, but everyone present didn't feel that he was cooking cranes and burning the zither to spoil the scenery. Instead, they listened very carefully. Especially Zhang Wendian, he was simply beaming with joy. He wanted to slap the table and applaud several times, but he held back. Qin Qing's slender hands pressed the strings of the zither, and her starry eyes flashed with a strange look. She came because of curiosity. When she first saw Lu Qin, the latter gave her the impression that he was handsome and polite. It's just that there have been too many excellent boys in front of Qin Qing. Lu Qin has nothing special, so naturally, there was no special feeling to speak of. He was just an ordinary passerby. Until Lu Qin beat the drum and sang. At the beginning, she could see at a glance that Lu Qin didn't know how to play the daiji drum. He completely used the daiji drum as an ordinary leather drum, and his movements appeared clumsy and jerky. The song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself," changed her impression in an instant. The rhythm of Lu Chen's drumming was extremely powerful, and his singing was full of a heroic spirit that didn't match his age and appearance. The sound was sonorous and deafening, and even a girl like her felt her blood surging. He was so focused, as if everything around him didn't exist, and all his mind was immersed in the song. It was this incomparably serious attitude that inadvertently touched Qin Qing's heartstrings. She had a little more favorable impression of him. Warm blood and intestines, brighter than the sun. The drumming stopped abruptly, and the singing stopped abruptly. The lingering sound lingered, but it was not finished. Good. Zhang Wendian was the first to clap his hands and applaud. He looked overjoyed. That's it. Among all the people present, he was the most chivalrous. Otherwise, he would not have chosen such a script as his debut blockbuster. Therefore, he was the easiest to be moved by the song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself." In fact, when Lu Qin began to sing again, the great director had already decided to use this theme song. Based on this, the tone of the soundtrack of the whole film can be determined. He no longer had any mental barriers, and he could let go. Therefore, Zhang Wendian was very grateful to Lu Qin for bringing him a wonderful work. Gao Yu and Chen Pu also applauded. The latter smiled and said, "Old Zhang, you finally got what you wanted. Good song, good music." Gao Yu sighed, "We're really old." This song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself," whether it was the tune or the lyrics, is perfect for Zhang Wendian's upcoming movie. There's basically nothing to be picky about. At most, he needs to work harder on the arrangement and accompaniment. Or find someone else to sing again. Lu Chen is still too young. Even if it's his work, it doesn't mean that he can sing the best. Of course, this doesn't affect Gao Yu's appreciation of Lu Chen, which is purely out of professional considerations. Chen Jinhao directly gave Lu Chen a thumbs up. He thought he knew enough about Lu Chen, but now he found that his previous understanding was too superficial. Lu Chen is like an inexhaustible treasure, always bringing people surprises. The style of this song, "A Man Should Strengthen Himself," is completely different from his previous works. It is vigorous and has the atmosphere of a grandmaster, and its strength can only be described as unfathomable. Qin Qing was surprised. Listening to what they said, it seems that this song is Lu Chen's original work. That's too surprising. Lu Chen, holding the drumsticks in his hand, bowed with a smile and said, "Thank you." In the face of appreciation and honor, Lu Chen has never been complacent and proud, because he knows the source of his glory. And it is precisely this modesty that makes the two professors and Zhang Wendian particularly favorable impression. Zhang Wendian said, Lu Chen, I want this song. Which company did you sign with? There are rules in the industry. If he wants to buy songs from Lu Chen, he must first negotiate with Lu Chen's signing company. Because according to the artist contract, the signing company owns full or priority copyright of the works created by Lu Chen. Unless he is a top big shot, it is impossible to be exceptional. Lu Chen's answer was beyond Zhang Wendian's expectation. Director Zhang, I opened a studio of my own. If you like this song, I can license it to the investors of the film for free. The theme song of a blockbuster with an investment of hundreds of millions of yuan has a great influence. Not to mention free licensing, even if it costs money, Lu Chen is willing to do it. It would be best if Zhang Wendian owes him a favor. If you want to make more money, you must take a long-term view. It is not wise to be greedy for small profits. Zhang Wendian was stunned at first. He didn't expect that Lu Chen actually opened his own studio without relying on other companies. But he reacted quickly and said with a laugh, I don't want it for free. I still have to pay the fees that should be paid. After a pause, he asked, the main actors in my movie have all been decided, but there are still a few supporting roles with few scenes. I wonder if you are interested in trying them. Lu Chen was immediately overjoyed. Thank you, Director Zhang, I'm very interested. If he misses such an opportunity, he will be struck by lightning. Note, men should strengthen themselves. Lyrics and music, Huang Zhan, adapted from the ancient song General's Order. Chapter 152. Zhang Wendian, who has been dormant for nearly 10 years, is still a famous director in China and even internationally. Therefore, the comeback of this great director will inevitably attract the attention of all parties. Even if there are several loss-making blockbusters as precedents, with his fame and connections, it will be easy to pull in enough investment. The big stars in the film and television industry in the circle, plus the stakeholders of the investors, are bound to want to compete for roles in this new film. Even if it's 3 or 4 supporting roles, they will fight until their heads are broken. It doesn't matter if the film loses money. Zhang Wendian's works have always had a tradition of going to foreign exhibitions, and have won many awards. Who doesn't want to walk the red carpet at those highly anticipated film festivals? So, even if the pay is reduced, many people are willing to play it cool. As a newcomer who has just made his debut, an independent artist and a singer, Lu Chen is not qualified to participate in such a game. His influence and connections in the circle are still too small. If it weren't for today's chance to move this great director with an absolute classic, a man should strengthen himself. Even if he used his connections to ask for a small role, he might not be able to get it. And now, Zhang Wendian took the initiative to offer Lu Chen a small supporting role, which was simply a pleasant surprise. Lu Chen has experienced 3 lives in the dream world. Among them, Mo Ran is a powerful actor. Unfortunately, his star luck is not good. He has always been a supporting role and has never been a big hit. This life belonging to Mo Ran has made Lu Chen have a different feeling for actors. He once made a vow in his heart to realize Mo Ran's long-cherished wish in his own world and become a real protagonist. But rice has to be eaten one bite at a time, and the road has to be walked step by step. It is easy to pull the egg if you run too fast. Lu Chen doesn't have a pain in the ass. Therefore, he took pop music as the beginning of his career, and waited until he had accumulated enough before developing into film and television. It was precisely because of such a good mentality that Lu Chen didn't think of taking the opportunity to ask Zhang Wendian for a role just now. The script, crew, and actors are all in place. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if he wanted to force it in? It would be too stupid to provoke Zhang Wendian. Lu Chen is already satisfied with being able to set his work as the theme song of a movie. However, things in the world are so wonderful. He has no desire, and Zhang Wendian has to return the favor in turn. Even if it's a small supporting role, Lu Chen was overjoyed and agreed without hesitation. Isn't it silly to play pretentious and reserved at this time? Lu Chen's joy and excitement made Zhang Wendian smile. That's right. The great director nodded and said, let's talk about the script and performance contract when we transfer the copyright of the work. Your scenes will be filmed later, so you have enough time to learn some acting skills and perform well. The great director nodded and said, let's talk about the script and the performance contract when we transfer the copyright of the work. Your scenes will be filmed later, so you have enough time to learn some acting skills and perform well. When a singer becomes an actor, unless he has a professional background, his acting skills are a big problem. Although Lu Chen has very few scenes, he can't just rely on his face to make up the numbers. No problem, Lu Chen said cheerfully, I will work hard to learn. With Mo Rant's life memory, he has the ability to control the protagonist. A small supporting role is naturally easy. However, in front of Zhang Wendian, Lu Chen can't show too much confidence. It's right to be modest. Zhang Wendian nodded and said, as for the arrangement of this song, and the soundtrack of the movie, Zhang Wendian nodded and said, as for the arrangement of this song, and the soundtrack of the movie, Lu Chen quickly said, in terms of arrangement and soundtrack, this junior's ability is not enough. Are you kidding me? The soundtrack of a blockbuster movie is a big project. He is still very self-aware. This aspect is Lu Chen's biggest weakness, so he has to go to Jingyin to learn and accumulate knowledge. Zhang Wendian said with a smile, what I mean is that I can't give it to you, but as the creator of the theme song, I hope you can provide advice when necessary. I plan to let Professor Gao complete the arrangement and soundtrack. Oh. It's wishful thinking. Lu Chen suddenly blushed. He was thinking too much. He had to be calm down. At this time, Lu Chen caught a glimpse of Qin Qin next to him, who was pursing her lips and snickering. There was a bit of girlish cuteness. Lu Chen could only smile bitterly. The film's arrangement and soundtrack are very important, and Zhang Wendian can't let him do it in any case. After all, his qualifications are too shallow and he has no experience. Zhang Wendian gave Lu Chen a small supporting role, which had the intention of compensation. It was Lu Chen who provided the theme song. Gao Yu said with a smile, it just so happens that Lu Chen is coming to Jingyin to attend lectures. It's also very convenient for us to communicate together. He was very considerate to resolve Lu Chen's little embarrassment. Lu Chen said gratefully, Professor Gao, I want to learn a lot from you. Isn't this another opportunity for him? Since Zhang Wendian has handed over this work to Gao Yu, and the latter is a professor of the composition department of Beijing Conservatory of Music. His experience must be very rich. If he can get the other party's careful guidance, learning relevant knowledge will be twice the result with half the effort. Zhang Wendian encouraged, Lu Chen's work has given me confidence. Next year, I will take it to the Capital International Film Festival and compete for the Best Music Award. The Capital International Film Festival, Shanghai International Film Festival and Golden Peony Film Festival are the three major film festivals in China. Among them, the Capital International Film Festival was established in 2000, sponsored by the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television and the Beijing Municipal Government. It is an international, professional, innovative, open, high-end and market-oriented large-scale film-themed event, which enjoys a high reputation in the industry for its authority and professionalism. The Capital International Film Festival aims to integrate domestic and international film resources and build a platform for display, exchange and trading. Since 2010, it has been held annually and set up an award unit, including 10 awards, including Best Film, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Music and Best Visual Effects. The Golden Tripod Award of the Capital International Film Festival is still of high value and has a certain influence internationally. Zhang Wendian pointed his sword at the Golden Tripod Award, showing his strong confidence. He said that the Best Music Award was nothing more than an excuse. Best Film and Best Director were what he really wanted to pursue. At his level, it didn't matter whether he could win the award or not. What mattered was the spirit to rise up again. Zhang Wendian said this, which was also a praise for Lu Qin. Chen Pu said disdainfully, "Next year. Can you finish shooting this film in a year and go to the exhibition?" Gao Yu laughed. Zhang Wendian was speechless. He could only pick up his teacup and drink water to cover up his embarrassment. Chen Pu poked his Achilles heel, that is, he was too good at procrastinating and grinding. Other directors can finish shooting a film in half a year, but in order to improve it, he often dragged it to a year, which led to a big increase in the budget and killed several investors. Putting down the teacup, Zhang Wendian said heroically, "I'll definitely finish shooting it within a year." The Capital International Film Festival was held in early December. Now it was the end of August. Even if it was shot within a year, if the time for post-production was added, it would be very tight to take it to the film festival. He must also complete it, otherwise it would be difficult to explain to the investors. According to the requirements of the investors, after participating in the Capital International Film Festival, it would be released during New Year's Day. Winning an important award would undoubtedly have a great boost to the box office. Now is not the 1980s and 1990s. Investors are very shrewd and always put the box office first. Chen Pu snorted with a look of disbelief. Gao Yu smoothed things over and changed the topic. He asked Qin Qing, "Are you going back to the college this afternoon?" Qin Qing nodded and asked, "Professor Gao, what's the matter?" "That's just right." Gao Yu pointed to Lu Qin and said, "Can you accompany Lu Qin to the Academic Affairs Office, look for Director Lu or Director Qin, and give Lu Qin an auditing certificate?" Although he had already written a note to Lu Qin, with Qin Qing's help, Lu Qin could get the auditing certificate and the class schedule this afternoon, which could save a lot of trouble. Qin Qing was a little surprised, but she did not object. Okay. Her temperament was reserved, but since Professor Gao asked, she must help. It was not a very difficult thing. Lu Qin said with a smile, "Sorry to trouble junior sister Qin." In fact, he could handle it himself. There was no need to trouble Qin Qing, but it was not good to brush off Gao Yu's good intentions. Qin Qing smiled. She got up and said, "Then let's go. If we're late, the Academic Affairs Office will get off work." "Wait!" Chen Pu cried, "Qin girl, play a song for us first before you go. I haven't heard you play the piano for a long time." As he spoke, he glared at Gao Yu, blaming him for spoiling the fun. Qin Qing sat down again and said in a big way, "Then I'll play a song for the elders." Zhang Wendian, Gao Yu, Chen Pu and Qin Jinhao all smiled. Qin Qing's family background was extraordinary. Not only was she beautiful and outstanding, but she was also intelligent. She had been learning the piano since she was a child, and her zither skills were outstanding. There were many guests who could come to Yumming Tea Garden, but there were really few who could listen to her play the piano. But when Qin Qing waved her 10 fingers and played the zither, the smile on everyone's face turned into a wry smile. Because what Qin Qing played was the ancient song, General's Order. Compared with Lu Chen's adaptation, she played the original. In the first part, she used a large section of flicking fingers and left-handed playing techniques to show the scene of the sound of drums and horns. The melody was tense and mysterious. In the second part, the image of a wise and brave general was sketched through the exaggerated singing and sliding technique of her left hand. In the third part, she used the continuous acceleration of the fast 4 points technique to show the situation of the soldiers' rapid advance in formation. In the fourth part, she depicted the scene of the two armies confronting each other, fighting on the battlefield, the sound of horns, and returning to the camp in victory. The 4 parts of the whole song were completed in one go, with an urgent rhythm and full of momentum, showing her exquisite skills. Zhang Wendian and others listened attentively. Lu Qin had a faint feeling that this junior sister seemed to be challenging him in this way. Of course, this may be his illusion. Chapter 153. At the entrance of Yumming Tea Garden. Chen Jinhao patted Lu Qin on the shoulder and said with a sigh, I really can't see through you more and more. Lu Qin said with a wry smile, Brother Kenho, in fact, I am me. I haven't become another person. Chen Jinhao shook his head with a smile. He knew that Lu Qin was modest and polite on the outside, but in fact, he was very proud in his heart. Even when Lu Qin was a waiter in Forget Worries Bar, his pride has always been hidden in his bones, and has never been obliterated by life. He has always been working hard and struggling silently. It wasn't until Lu Qin showed amazing talent that the pride that had long penetrated into his bones naturally emerged. But this pride was not superficial arrogance and rudeness, but strong self-confidence. It was also this self-confidence that made Lu Qin dare to show his work in front of Zhang Wendian. What Chen Jinhao couldn't see through was Lu Qin's background. It was too deep. In Chen Jinhao's opinion, this song, A Man Should Strengthen Himself, was better than, In the Spring, Chasing Dreams with a Childlike Heart, You Who Sat Next to Me, and other Lu Qin's previous works. He thought about it and reminded seriously, Xiao Lu, remember to keep the theme song you wrote for director Zhang's new film and the shooting a secret first. Don't take the initiative to publicize it yourself. Director Zhang doesn't like to shout to the whole world before things are settled, and he doesn't like others to use him for hype. A newcomer like Lu Qin, who had just made his debut, had a relationship with Zhang Wendian. As long as he was willing, even if it was a very small thing, he could stir up a basket of gossip news. Lu Qin was not a trivial matter. Fortunately, he was an independent artist. Otherwise, once the signing company found out, it would definitely hype him up. Chen Jinhao knew that the current entertainment industry was inseparable from hype, but he hoped that Lu Qin would not be greedy for the small profits in front of him, and take a long-term view. It was important to have a good relationship with Zhang Wendian. With the support of this great director, it would be much easier for Lu Qin to enter the film industry in the future. Lu Qin smiled and said, I understand. Brother Kenho, don't worry. He knew that Chen Jinhao was truly looking out for him. Seeing that Lu Qin understood immediately, Chen Jinhao was pleased. I can't tell you now, but I'll do whatever I want when the film is completed. According to the customs of the film and television industry, when the production of a film was completed or about to be completed, it was the beginning of large-scale publicity. At that time, there would be no problem for Lu Qin to ride on the momentum, and the investors might even be happy to see it happen. He suddenly changed the topic. What do you think of Qin Qing? Lu Qin was stunned and didn't know how to answer. Boss, I don't know her at all. A smile appeared in Chen Jinhao's eyes as he half-jokingly said, You don't have a girlfriend yet, right? If you don't plan to be a pure idol, then you should find one. Don't miss a good girl. Falling in love in the entertainment industry is a very complicated problem. If you want to take the idol route, then even if you want to fall in love, you must take the underground route. Otherwise, once exposed, it is very likely to lead to a sharp drop in popularity, and even be abandoned by the company. If the strength is better, fans will be more tolerant, especially male singers, whose acceptance will be relatively higher. Lu Qin's appearance is more than enough to be an idol, but he obviously has no intention of buying a face. His identity as the champion of singing China makes it enough for him to mix well in the strength group. Therefore, although Chen Jinhao was joking, what he said was not wrong. Lu Qin smiled bitterly, I don't have any plans to find a girlfriend yet. It's very hard to fall in love seriously. He doesn't have that much time and energy right now. If he doesn't fall in love seriously and holds the idea of playing, well, his sister will beat him to death. Chen Jinhao said with a smile, what I want to say is that Qin Qing is really good. Since you are going to Jingyin to take classes, try to see if you can become friends with her. At your age, don't live like us. Cough. As soon as his voice fell, a soft cough suddenly came from behind the two. Chen Jinhao and Lu Chen couldn't help turning their heads and saw Qin Qing standing a few steps away. She looked indifferent and her eyes were cold. The Jingyin girl had just changed into a simple and elegant dress. She still had long hair, and her temperament was more and more quiet. Even though Chen Jinhao's skin was extremely thick, he couldn't help but feel embarrassed. He laughed and quickly said, "Qin Qing is here, then you go." After that, he directly left the soles of his feet and left Lu Chen alone to face this very special girl without any sense of loyalty. Qin Qing was not ashamed or annoyed, but there was a trace of indifference between her eyebrows that kept people 1,000 miles away. She said lightly, "Let's go." Lu Chen originally wanted to explain a few words, but when he saw the other party's expression, he didn't say much. Okay. Driving the car, Lu Chen drove Qin Qing to Beijing Conservatory of Music. Qin Qing was sitting in the passenger seat. On the way, she suddenly said, "Uncle Chen was just joking. Don't take it to heart." Lu Chen said with a smile, "I know. Don't worry about it." He was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning of the other party's words? Qin Qing was telling Lu Chen that there was no possibility between her and him, and not to have unnecessary ideas. The problem was that Lu Chen didn't have any ideas about her at all. This girl who played the zither very well was very beautiful. To be precise, Lu Chen had never seen a more beautiful girl than her, and her temperament was better than her appearance. It was not an exaggeration to say that she was a goddess. Qin Qing's family background should be very good. It could be seen from the attitude of the two professors and Zhang Wendian towards her. She was either rich or noble, and not an ordinary person. Such a girl must have countless suitors, reserved and arrogant. But what does this have to do with him? People from two different worlds may have intersected because of various coincidences, but in the end, they are gradually drifting apart. Qin Qing said, "N." Lu Chen was a little speechless. Listening to her tone, it seemed that she didn't believe him. So he said bluntly, "I don't plan to fall in love in the next few years." "Don't worry." Qin Qing tilted her head and said, "Are you angry? Or did you say that on purpose to arouse my interest?" Lu Chen sighed and gently turned the steering wheel to park the car steadily on the side of the road. Qin Qing looked at him without the slightest change in her expression. Lu Chen looked straight into her eyes and said sincerely, "Junior sister Qin Qing, first of all, I'm not angry. I don't want to attract you with these words. We've just met. You don't know me. I can understand. I'm going to Jingyin to attend lectures just to study. I'm very grateful that you accompany me to get the permit. If this makes you misunderstand, then I'm sorry. I'll send you to school first, and I'll handle it myself." After listening, Qin Qing nodded and said, "I believe you." Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Thank you." Qin Qing said, "Since I promised Professor Gao, I must accompany you to the Academic Affairs office. Let's go." Lu Chen was speechless and went back on the road. He didn't notice the shallow smile on the corner of the girl's lips. After spending more than 10 minutes on the road, without encountering traffic jams, the two arrived at Jingyin smoothly. Jingyin, or Beijing Conservatory of Music, is known as the three major conservatories, along with the Central Conservatory of Music and the Northern Conservatory of Music. It was founded in 1980 and has a history of 35 years so far. Although it is not as old as Zhongyin, it has also produced many talented people in the past few decades. Many famous composers, pianists and singers have emerged, and it has a respectable reputation both at home and around the world. This Conservatory of Music is located on the shore of Beihai, adjacent to the famous Beihai Park, and its geographical location is extremely superior. Jingyin is very small in area, and its scale is not even comparable to several middle schools in Beijing. The total number of teachers and students in the school is only more than 2,000, which is incomparable to schools with tens of thousands of students in University City. Lu Qin has never been to Jingyin before, but he has long been famous for this advanced music academy. It is said that there are tens of thousands of students who come to Beijing to apply for Jingyin every year. Most of them start training from an early age. Their attainments in such aspects as piano, violin, folk instruments, and so on can crush guys like Lu Qin into slag with just a move of their fingers. However, most of these proud children will be ruthlessly eliminated in the process of applying for Jingyin. Many examinees' families can be described as going bankrupt to train them. After arriving in Beijing, they spend a lot of money to ask teachers in the college to guide them, only to be told that they have no hope of getting in at all. Therefore, those who can be admitted to Jingyin are not ordinary people. Genius is a synonym for ordinary people among them. Even if it's an audit, it's not easy to get an audit pass. The environment in Jingyin is very good. The campus is shaded by trees, several buildings are hidden in the woods, and there is a small lake with rippling blue waves in the middle. The breeze is blowing gently, and the water is not rippling. Because school hasn't started yet, few students can be seen in Jingyin. Lu Qin didn't have a pass for Jingyin, but Qin Qing came forward and said a few words to the guard and was let in. Under her guidance, he drove directly to the bottom of the office building. After getting out of the car, Qin Qing took Lu Qin to the Academic Affairs office on the 3rd floor. There was someone in the office of the Academic Affairs office. Director Lu, whom Lu Qin was looking for, was not there. Fortunately, there was still Deputy Director Qin on duty. After explaining the purpose of his visit, he readily gave Lu Qin an audit pass. The audit pass is valid for 1 year and will be invalid after expiration. With the pass in hand, Lu Qin can freely enter and exit Jingyin and listen to any professor and mentor's lectures. He can also eat in the cafeteria of Jingyin. Deputy Director Qin sent a schedule to Lu Qin, which made Lu Qin very grateful. After completing the audit pass, the two went downstairs. Lu Qin said to Qin Qing, "Thank you very much this time. I'll go first." Qin Qing nodded, "Goodbye." As the car came out and drove towards the door, Lu Qin subconsciously glanced at the rearview mirror. The girl's figure was already gone. Chapter 154. Time flies, little by little, and unknowingly, it is fleeting, like a white steed passing through a crack. In the blink of an eye, the golden August has passed, and Beijing, a super city with a population of 30 million, has entered the fragrant September of osmanthus. The heat is no longer there, and autumn is gradually rising, and is about to usher in the best time of the year. Blue Sky Creative Park Area, Nirvana Studios. In the recording studio, studio manager Wang Changxing, music director Wang Jing, recording engineer Wang Hui, and 3 other members of Nirvana Studios gathered together, staring at Lu Qin with nervous or expectant eyes. Wang Changxing's forehead oozed fine sweat, his eyes were a little blank, and his right hand could not help but tremble. Wang Jing's eyes were still bright and full of spirit, but the action of biting her lips exposed her inner emotions. Wang Hui was the most unbearable. His whole body was trembling. He pressed his clenched fist on his mouth several times, as if to bite hard, otherwise he would be unable to hold back and shout out loud. However, Lu Qin could not see it at all. He was wearing huge monitoring headphones, listening to his own voice. "Whenever I can't find the meaning of existence, whenever I am lost in the night. Oh, the brightest star in the night sky, please illuminate my way." The song gradually stopped, but the lingering sound still lingered in the ears, like the burning blood in the heart is still boiling. After a long time, Lu Qin took a long breath and opened his eyes. Under everyone's nervous and expectant gaze, he took off the headphones, nodded and said, "It's okay." "Yes." 3 simple words instantly set off a frenzy of joy in the studio. Wang Hui was the first to shout, and then the three members of the Nirvana band all clapped their hands hard. Wang Chongqing showed a happy smile with relief, and even Wang Jing, who has always been calm, smiled like a spring flower. They have reason to be happy, reason to cheer, and more reason to celebrate. Lu Chen's debut album produced in Nirvana Studio was also the biggest and most important order the studio has ever received since its establishment. After 2 months, it has finally been declared complete. TN, Nirvana Studio. Although there are certain problems in the arrangement, accompaniment, recording, and post-production, and they have not achieved the best level, everyone has done their best. The whole album's 10 songs can't be said to be flawless, but they are qualified to be called sincere works. Lu Chen is already very satisfied. 100,000 yuan can make such an effect, which is completely beyond his expectations. Perhaps the arrangement is slightly immature, and perhaps the accompaniment is not mature enough, but for this album, You Who Sat Next to Me, it is really enough. This immaturity does not affect the main style of the work at all, and can even better express a certain temperament of campus folk songs. He said sincerely, "Thank you." Lu Chen first reached out to Wang Chongqing. For this album, the studio manager has been busy running around, so that the production team has no worries, no credit, but hard work. Then Wang Hui. His work is the hardest. Recording and post-production are basically done by himself, often working overtime late into the night. And Wang Jing. All the arrangements of the works are completed by her. The Jingyin graduate has a good grasp of the style of the album, and when she encounters problems, she often tirelessly modifies and adjusts, and several times, she has been very serious. Finally, the 3 band members are also working hard. Even if they are mainly doing it for himself and the studio, Lu Chen is still grateful. Because Lu Chen himself participated in the production of the album, he is very aware of everyone's efforts. So he wants to shake hands with everyone in Nirvana Studios one by one to express his gratitude. The next thing is simple. According to the contract, Lu Shi, who came with Lu Chen, paid the balance of the production fee to Nirvana Studios, and also got the master disc of the album and the lossless high-quality audio file. The album, You Who Sat Next to Me, has a total of 10 songs. In addition to the title song, You Who Sat Next to Me, there are also The Wind, The Brother Who Slept on My Upper Bunk, Cinderella, The Bright Times of Youth, Beauty, Those Flowers, Ballad of Time, and Open Air Cinema, forming a unified campus folk style. For the last song, Lu Chen originally intended to use Once You as the finale and Easter egg, but considering the influence of Singing China and the overall style, he finally chose The Brightest Star in the Night Sky. As for Once You and Chasing Dream with a Childlike Heart, they will be put on the next album. Counting carefully, such a lineup can be called luxurious, and the 10 songs are all fine works. Whether it is the melody or the lyrics, they have enough highlights, and there are real classics as the core. For the first album of his life, Lu Chen will never be careless. It was the name of the album that made him hesitate for a long time. From a publicity point of view, The Brightest Star in the Night Sky is undoubtedly the most appropriate, but it does not fit the theme of campus folk songs. After careful consideration, Lu Chen still chose You Who Sat Next to Me. Lu Chen Studio has already negotiated with QQ Music. Lu Chen's debut album will be put on QQ Music for debut and exclusive sale, waiting for this set of audio files. QQ Music is the largest music website in China, with a market share of more than 50%. Originally, it was very difficult for a newcomer like Lu Chen, who is also an independent artist, to promote and release on their website. However, because the live version of several works sung by Lu Chen in Singing China has been a great success on QQ Music, with countless downloads and a good reputation, the website attaches great importance to the cooperation between the two sides. Although there are all kinds of rules in QQ Music, and there are under-the-table manipulations on the homepage list, they can't ignore a singing star with huge market potential, so they are willing to exchange part of the benefits. This relatively equal status is not easy to come by, and it is also due to Lu Chen's strength. Otherwise, Lu Chen can go to QQ Music's competitors, EasyNet Music, pop radio stations, etc. With the quality and popularity of his works, the sales performance will not be too bad. QQ Music doesn't want to let its opponent take advantage of it, even if the latter's market share is not as good as its own. According to Lu Chen's plan, after QQ Music goes on sale, the cooperation with Flying Stone Records will be launched at the same time. QQ plus Flying Stone basically constitutes a perfect album sales channel, or double flight for short. But there is still a very important problem that has not been solved, so it is definitely necessary to go through the QQ channel first. Little Chen. The call in his ears suddenly woke Lu Chen up. Lu, she asked curiously, what's the matter? Lu Chen was just lost in thought about the distribution of channels. Now that he came back to his senses, he quickly replied, nothing. He then said to Wang Changxing, Manager Wang, I have booked a place at Jinghua Hotel. I'll treat everyone to dinner in the evening. Now it's almost time. Let's go together. The serious and responsible attitude of Nirvana Studios made Lu Chen have a very good impression of them. In the future, they will definitely continue to cooperate, so he is very willing to further enhance the relationship between the two sides. Lu Shi mentioned that if the time is right, she will directly acquire Nirvana Studios to strengthen herself. However, Lu Chen is not willing to support his sister's idea for the time being, because he can see that Wang Changxing's family has deep feelings for this studio and has spent a lot of effort in it. Therefore, unless the other party takes the initiative to propose it, he will not acquire Nirvana Studios. When Lu Chen's studio really needs to grow, it is not a problem to ask someone to build a shed on their own. He doesn't want to be a shrewd businessman, calculating gains and losses for everything. Great, thank you, Brother Lu Chen. Wang Hui immediately expressed his strong support and said with a smile, I eat fast food boxes every day. I'm about to vomit. I want to eat a big meal. I want to eat roast duck, braised ribs, sweet and sour fish. Ouch! Wang Jing slapped him on the back of the head and glared at him. Can you be any more shameful? Wang Hui looked wronged. Lu Chen smiled. Wang Hui is a very simple technical geek. He has no complicated thoughts. He is used to talking to others. In contrast, his sister, Wang Jing, pays more attention to details. Wang Changxing said quickly, Mr. Lu, let me treat you to dinner tonight. Nirvana Studios has earned Lu Chen's money, and it is really embarrassing for Lu Chen to treat them to dinner. Lu Chen said with a smile, Manager Wang, you don't have to be so polite. Everyone is really working hard. I have to treat you. At Lu Chen's insistence, the dinner was still his treat. Everyone left the studio together. Jinghua Hotel is next to the Blue Sky Creative Park, which is only a 10-minute walk away. Lu Chen booked a big box in the restaurant on the second floor of the hotel. After sitting down, Lu Chen handed the menu to Wang Hui and said with a smile, You order whatever you like. Don't be polite with me. The success of this album is due to you. Wang Hui happily took it and said, Brother Lu Chen, I'm polite to others, but I'm really not polite to you. You are now a local tyrant. You can earn more than 1 million yuan by participating in the talent competition. My sister admires you very much. Wang Jing, who was sitting next to him, blushed and said, What are you talking about? Wang Hui stuck out his tongue and quickly ordered. After ordering, the dishes and wine were quickly served on the table. Lu Chen poured himself a full glass of beer, raised his glass and said with a smile, I will toast everyone first. Thank you for your efforts in helping me complete an excellent album. Thank you. He drank it in one gulp. Wang Hui and others immediately applauded. Except for Wang Chongqing, the others were young people of about the same age. Everyone liked music and had a lot of common topics, so the atmosphere of the banquet quickly became lively. Halfway through, Lu Chen's cell phone rang. Lu Chen took it out and looked at it. The caller ID on the screen made his eyes light up. Chapter 155. It was Li Mubai who called Lu Chen. Li Mubai's tone was a little excited. "Brother Chen, my big brother wants to see you." Li Mubai's big brother. Lu Chen was stupefied, but he quickly realized that Li Mubai's big brother should be able to help him. A few days ago, because of a very important matter, Lu Chen asked Li Mubai to help him inquire about it, to see if the latter could help him contact the relevant people, lest he couldn't find the temple door even if he carried a pig's head. China is a society of human relationships. If you want to establish a career, networking is really important. Li Mubai's family background is extraordinary, coupled with his forthright personality. He must know a lot of friends in Beijing. It's better to ask him for help than to sit in the studio and wait anxiously. No matter whether it works or not, it's always right to try. What Lu Chen didn't expect was that Li Mubai actually asked his big brother. Lu Chen knew nothing about who Li Mubai's big brother was, but listening to his tone, it was obvious that things were taking shape. It was also wonderful that Lu Chen and Li Mubai have never met in real life, but the relationship between the two has changed from the original Anchor Plus fan to a bit of real friends. If it weren't for this relationship, Lu Chen wouldn't have asked Li Mubai for help. As Qin Jinhao's view of Lu Chen, his pride is deep in his bones. Lu Chen quickly asked, "When and where will we meet?" "I'll come over myself." Li Mubai asked, "Where are you now?" Lu Chen replied, "I'm at the Jinghua Hotel next to the Creative Park. I invited the people of Nirvana Studios to dinner in the evening. My album has been produced, and it is expected to be available for sale on QQ Music in 2 days. The album is finished." Li Mubai was pleasantly surprised. "That's great. When the time comes, I'll mobilize everyone to support you. No matter what, I'll help you get on the sales list. It's just that online downloads are boring. Only when you release a real album will it be cool." The word pretentious was taught to him by Lu Chen. He had learned it from the dream world, and its opposite was cheap. Li Mubai put what he learned into practice and often talked about it. He would comment on the bullet screen from time to time in the live broadcast room. According to him, Li Bai was a high-class man. As for his archenemy, Arthes, he was definitely a despicable person. Lu Chen said with a smile, "I asked you to help me with the album. The specific situation is a bit complicated. Let's talk in person." He wanted to take this opportunity to meet his #1 hardcore supporter. "All right," Li Mubai said, "at 7:30 in the evening, come to the Ping and community on the 2nd Ring Road of Beijing. Call me when you arrive." Of course, Lu Chen had no objections. He was very happy. This thing that had been planned for a long time finally had hope of success. Back in the private room, Lu Chen apologized to Wang Chongqing and others and asked Lu Shi to continue to accompany everyone for dinner. He returned to the studio first. There were bathroom facilities in the lounge of Lu Chen's studio. He took a quick shower to wash away the smell of alcohol, then changed into a set of clean and tidy clothes and went out. Because he had drunk in the evening, Lu Chen didn't drive himself. He stopped a taxi on the side of the road and rushed to the Ping and community. The taxi driver was a local, but anyone who often took taxis in the capital knew that the biggest characteristic of the local taxi drivers was that they were good at talking. They were knowledgeable about astronomy and geography, and they could talk about anything from the height of the temple to the distance of the pugilistic world. The middle-aged driver was the same. When he heard Lu Chen say that he was going to the Ping and community on the 2nd Ring Road of Beijing, he immediately opened his mouth and his saliva flew everywhere. The Ping An community was one of the earliest high-end communities in Beijing. The geographical location was extremely superior. 70% of the buildings in it were villas, and the people who lived in it were either rich or respectable. When the Ping An community opened for sale more than a decade ago, it set a new national record for housing prices at that time. Now, it had increased at least 10 times, and a large villa was worth at least hundreds of millions. Speaking of the housing prices in Beijing, the old driver sighed. He said that he was reluctant to buy a house at 5,000 yuan per square meter because it was too expensive. As a result, he couldn't buy a house in the same location for 50,000 yuan. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. Lu Qin listened to him talk all the way, and time passed quickly. Fortunately, the taxi did not encounter any traffic on the road, and Lu Qin arrived at the Ping An community at 7 o'clock. After paying the fare, he got out of the car and called Li Mubai. As a high-end community, the security of the Ping An community was very strict. Without a pass, Lu Qin couldn't get in. Li Mubai came out soon. This was the first time Lu Qin saw him in person. Li Mubai was 1 year younger than Lu Qin, and his height of about 1.75 meters was standard. He had short hair, and his appearance was not very handsome, but at least his facial features were regular, and his whole body was full of youthful vitality. The hip-hop style was very eye-catching. Brother Chen. Seeing Lu Qin, Li Mubai ran over with a smile and opened his arms to give Lu Qin a solid hug. Lu Qin patted his back hard and said with a smile, "Li Mubai." Although it was the first time they met in person, the two had chatted many times on the internet, and they were quite familiar with each other. Therefore, it felt like a reunion of old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. They were happy and excited from the bottom of their hearts. There was no strangeness or alienation. Li Mubai let go and said, "Let's go to my house. My big brother and third sister-in-law are already there." Lu Qin asked curiously, "You need to trouble your big brother with this matter?" The two chatted as they walked, and Li Mubai explained, "This matter is just a small matter for my big brother. But big brother has never cared about me, so I asked third sister-in-law for help. Third sister-in-law likes your songs very much, and she said that you are very talented, and my big brother loves third sister-in-law the most. This is called saving the country with a curve." His face showed a triumphant look, with an expression of, "I'm very smart, please praise me." Wait. Lu Qin felt that something was wrong. Li Mubai's big brother didn't care about him. He asked third sister-in-law for help, and big brother loved third sister-in-law. The rich circle seemed to be a bit messy. Probably noticing Lu Qin's strange look, Li Mubai said with a smile, "Don't think the wrong way. I only have one big brother, but I have 3 sisters-in-law. He became a Taiwanese citizen in his early years, and third sister-in-law is from Taipei, Taiwan. Treasure Island people." Lu Qin suddenly realized. As early as 1967, Taiwan returned to the embrace of the motherland with Hong Kong. Together with Macau, which returned in 1969, it was one of the 3 special administrative regions implementing the policy of one country, 2 systems. The political system was different, and the laws of the special zones were also very different from those of China. The most typical one was the marriage law. The marriage laws of the 3 special zones all allowed polygamy. For example, He Liangwei, the famous gambling king of Macau, owned a 7-star Macau hotel and 3 luxury casinos. His business scope involved gambling, real estate, logistics, entertainment and other industries, with assets of more than 50 billion. The most interesting thing about He Liangwei was not how much money he had, but that he had a total of 7 wives. In addition to the original wife, the other 6 included 4 misses from Macau and 2 misses from Hong Kong. He could be called a real winner in life. It was precisely because of the different marriage laws that many rich people in China tried to move to the 3 special zones. What they wanted was to marry more wives, enjoy the happiness of having multiple wives, and at the same time, expand the family and import more children. But after entering the new century, the feminist movement was on the rise, and the voice for the 3 special zones to abolish this unfair marriage system was getting stronger and stronger. Therefore, Taiwan and Hong Kong were planning to amend the marriage law and abolish polygamy. It was said that there was a lot of resistance. As they spoke, the two came to the front of a large villa in the community. The area of the Ping An community was very large, and there was an artificial lake in the center of the community. Villas were built around the lake, and they were scattered around each other, separated by green belts to ensure privacy. The villa of Li Mubai's family was 3 stories high, at least 600 or 700 square meters in size, and there was a small garden in front of the door. It was already dark, and the street lamp standing on the green field emitted a soft light, evenly illuminating the cobblestone path leading to the gate, and the surroundings were full of a quiet and serene scene. Li Mubai stepped forward and opened the door, and the magnificent hall inside immediately appeared in front of him. He saw a giant crystal lamp hanging from the dome was emitting thousands of rays of light, and it was as brilliant as a palace. Li Mubai made an invitation gesture to Lu Chen and said, "Brother Chen, welcome to my house." Lu Chen smiled slightly and said, "Thank you." Although Li Mubai's home was amazing, it was not enough to make Lu Chen lose his composure. When his family was not in decline, the place where his family lived was also a villa in the best community in Binhai. Although it was not as good as the house in front of him that was worth hundreds of millions of yuan, it was still considered to have enjoyed wealth. Lu Chen naturally stepped into the door. The living room was empty, and no one was there. Li Mubai said, "Big brother is listening to the 3rd sister-in-law playing the guqin in the tea room on the 2nd floor. I will take you up." Under his guidance, Lu Chen came to an elegant room on the 2nd floor of the villa. It was said to be a tea room, but in fact, it was more like a large study room. The decoration was completely Chinese antique. There were many calligraphy and paintings of famous people hanging on the wall, and there was a faint smell of tea in the air. He saw a man in a white gown sitting on a mahogany chair, listening to a woman in Cheongsam playing the guqin. Seeing Li Mubai and Lu Chen coming in, the man in the white gown raised his right index finger and made a gesture of silence. The graceful woman was very focused on playing the guqin. The sound of the guqin entered the ears like the sound of nature. It was a melodious and smooth song of Shaoxiang water and clouds. If people listened carefully, they would unconsciously enter the artistic conception of clouds and water reflecting the vast mist. Li Mubai and Lu Chen stood still until the woman finished playing the ancient song. And Lu Chen was surprised to find that he actually recognized the guqin player, who was Li Mubai's 3rd sister-in-law. Chapter 156. This musician is very beautiful. She is wearing a white cheongsam with blue patterns, which outlines her graceful figure. Her skin is ice and snow, and her eyebrows are picturesque. Her whole person seems to be like a blue and white porcelain that has been washed in the kiln fire, shining with a soft light that can't be ignored, elegant, gentle, and unstained by dust. Lu Chen recognized such an outstanding person at a glance, Su Daiwan. Su Daiwan is a native of Taipei, Taiwan. She was once very popular on the island. She made her debut at the age of 19 and won the championship of the Island Performing Arts Award. With her natural voice and outstanding appearance and temperament, she became a rising star. At the age of 21, Su Daiwan released her debut album, Light Snow First Sunshine, and at the same time pushed her singing career to the peak, and was regarded as the future heavenly queen of the music industry. However, to everyone's surprise, only 2 years after her debut, when her career was brilliant, Su Daiwan suddenly retired from the pop music world and disappeared from the public sight. Except for a few insiders, no one knew why Su Daiwan gave up her career. There were many rumors at that time. Some said that Su Daiwan was kept by a rich man, some said that she had an incurable disease, and some said that she had become a monk. But no matter how many rumors there were in the outside world, Su Dai-won did not respond. 5 or 6 years have passed. Perhaps only a few die-hard fans still remember her. In the Waves blog, there is also Su Dai-won's fan group V, with tens of thousands of followers. Lu Chen never dreamed that Su Dai-won was Lee Mubai's third sister-in-law. The reason why Lu Chen knows Su Dai-won so well is that his first girlfriend is a loyal fan of Su Dai-won. There are promotional posters of Su Dai-won hanging in her boudoir, and the drawer is filled with various record versions of the album Light Snow First Sunshine. Lu Chen still remembers the scene when his first girlfriend leaned against his arms and sang the song Love Snow in his ear. The sour and astringent taste could not help but emerge in his heart, and for a time, he was infatuated. Love Snow is the title song of Light Snow First Sunshine, the most moving love song in the whole album. The sound of the zither lingers, and the song ends. The old friend is still there, and the past cannot be traced back. Mubai, is this your friend? A gentle voice brought Lu Chen back to his senses. Lu Chen couldn't help but turn his head. His eyes just happened to meet Lee Mubai's elder brother's eyes. Lee Mubai's elder brother should be in his 30s. He had sword-like eyebrows, bright eyes, and deep facial features. With a smile on his face, he had an indescribable refined temperament. He was wearing an antique white gown, which looked extremely harmonious on him, like a character in a book. His gaze was calm with a hint of curiosity, making people unconsciously have a good impression of him. A gentleman is like jade. Lu Chen immediately thought of the most suitable adjective for the other party. Such a character was really compatible with Su Dai-won. But, Lu Chen couldn't help but look at Lee Mubai again. He really wanted to ask him, is this really your biological brother? Lee Mubai held Lu Chen's shoulder and said, yes, he is Lu Chen, my best friend. Best friend? Lu Chen couldn't help but be stunned, but he still remained calm on the surface. He bowed slightly and said, hello, big brother Lee. I came to visit at night. Please forgive me for being presumptuous. Lee Mubai's elder brother smiled and said, you are Mubai's friend, so you are a guest at home. You don't have to be too polite. I am Mubai's elder brother, Lee Murong. You can come and sit together. Lee Mubai pulled Lu Chen, and the two of them sat down at the tea table. At this time, Su Dai-won came over, picked up the teapot, and made tea for Lee Mubai first. Her movements were like floating clouds in flowing water, elegant and skillful, which was pleasing to the eye. Lee Mubai picked up the teacup and smelled it, revealing an exaggerated expression, third sister-in-law, the tea you make is fragrant, and the dishes you cook are even more delicious. I want to live in your house every day, but unfortunately, Big Brother doesn't want to. Su Dai-won pursed her lips and said with a smile, it sounds nice. If you really want to come and live, can your big brother not let you live? Lee Mubai grinned and said, I'll be driven out by him if I stay for half a day. He asked Lee Murong again, big brother, don't you think so? Lee Murong shook his head speechlessly. He was obviously helpless against his rascally younger brother. Su Dai-won brewed another cup for Lu Chen. Lu Chen quickly said, thank you, Su. Miss Su. Su Dai-won said with a smile, you're welcome. Just call me third sister-in-law like Mubai. Her gentle and kind smile made Lu Chen's taut heartstrings relax. He said, third sister-in-law, my former girlfriend liked you the most. She was sad for a long time after you retired. Seeing Su Dai-won, Lu Chen remembered the past and couldn't help but say it. Su Dai-won put down the teapot, sat down beside Lee Murong and said with a smile, if you see her again, apologize for me. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. Su Dai-won turned to look at her husband and said, in fact, you should blame him. It's all his fault. Although it was in a reproachful tone, the gentleness in her eyes seemed to overflow. It was Li Murong's turn to smile bitterly and raise his hand in surrender. Li Mubai took the opportunity to say, "Big brother, can you help him ask about brother Qin?" Li Murong declined to comment. He asked Lu Qin, "Can you talk about your project first?" The smile on his face was still gentle, but there was a trace of sharpness in his eyes, which was the shrewdness of understanding the world. If a person with ulterior motives was stared at by such a gaze, he would inevitably feel guilty. But Lu Qin was very calm. Okay. He had come prepared. He had brought a copy of the project proposal that he had made with him. Lu Qin took out the copy and handed it to Li Murong. Li Murong was a little surprised. He didn't expect Lu Qin to be so well prepared. He took the printed paper and read it carefully. The project that Lu Qin wants to do has been brewing for a long time. Simply put, it is a fundraising platform, crowdfunding website. His inspiration comes from the dream world. The dream world also has a huge internet industry, which is not much different from the development of this world. Many things can be corresponded, such as QQ to QQ, WeChat to Feixin, Alipay to Yifubao and so on. In China, 7 internet giants firmly control most of the network resources and wealth. Lu Chen's major in university was computer application. He was well aware of the difficulty of starting a business on the internet today. It was far from comparable to the previous period of rapid development. If there was no strong capital and excellent creativity, and rashly rushed into this extremely competitive Red Sea, 99% of the result would be death without a burial place. Therefore, after acquiring the memory of the dream world, he focused on making money through original works and singing, and didn't think about tossing around in the IT industry. However, when Lu Qin decided to produce and release his first album, his inspiration was touched. As an independent artist, the biggest difficulty Lu Qin faces is that he doesn't have the support of an entertainment agency. It may be easy to produce and release albums, but it is undoubtedly difficult to not lose money or even make a profit. Lu Qin didn't want to lose money, so he thought of the advantage he had, more than 1 million fans. So how can he make the most of this advantage to help the sales of his album? The crowdfunding platform is undoubtedly the best solution. The so-called crowdfunding refers to the mode of raising project funds from netizens in the form of group purchase plus advance purchase. It uses the characteristics of the internet and SNS to let small businesses, artists or individuals show their creativity to the public, win people's attention and support, and then get the financial assistance they need. Compared with traditional financing methods, crowdfunding is more open, and the commercial value of the project is no longer the only criterion for obtaining funds. As long as it is a project that netizens like, they can get the first sum of money to start the project through crowdfunding, which provides infinite possibilities for more people with small businesses or creations. For example, independent artists like Lu Qin. In this world, the original prototype of crowdfunding has long existed, but there is no real internet crowdfunding platform. It's like a small gold mine waiting to be excavated. When his inspiration was touched, Lu Qin keenly felt that this was an excellent opportunity to give his career a greater opportunity to develop, and he immediately set about preparing for it. The Chinese and English domain names of crowdfunding, zhongqiu, and crowdfunding have all been successfully registered by Lu Qin, and he purchased a high-bandwidth independent server from a well-known internet service provider and worked with Qin Xiang to build the website. The structure of the crowdfunding platform is actually very simple. After registration and filing, apply the ready-made website template, add the corresponding functions, and then connect to Yifubao and online banking. A complete crowdfunding network is declared complete. With the memory in his dream as a reference, Lu Qin didn't spend too much time and energy in this regard. As long as he is willing, the crowdfunding network can be launched at any time. But there is still a big problem. From a technical point of view alone, there is no difficulty in the crowdfunding platform. It is just like an ordinary personal website, and anyone who has learned how to make a website can easily handle it. The key lies in creativity. How can Lu Chen ensure that his creativity will not be copied, imitated, or even invaded by others? This has to mention an internationally and domestically popular bill, that is, the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Act. The Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Act was first born in 2005. It was a period of rapid development of the domestic internet, and it was also a period of barbaric and violent expansion of giants. Many potential emerging small companies, under the attack of these giants, either closed down or were swallowed up, which can be described as chaos. The most typical example is an interactive game called Thumb Elf, whose company, Shining Elf, quickly became popular and made a lot of money because of this game. However, Shining Elf Company's good times did not last long. QQ Games stared at this fat meat and quickly launched Finger Elf with the same model. With more sophisticated production and a large user base, it quickly defeated Thumb Elf. Shining Elf Company, a game company that was originally very promising, has since been unable to recover and finally ended in dismay. And similar examples were countless in that period. Chapter 157. From the day of the birth of capital, every pore is full of filth and blood. These two famous sayings perfectly explain the nature of business. The early expansion of the domestic internet industry was a bloody process of killing and annexation. It followed the law of the jungle, where the strong preyed on the weak. The few giants had all fought their way out of the Red Sea, and their bones were filled with the nature of wolves that devoured everything. They call it the rules of business. But the domestic political system determines that this unlimited and barbaric expansion must be curbed, because the result of the monopoly of giants is to a great extent stifle the spirit of innovation, making it difficult for small and medium-sized enterprises to gain a foothold. And the giants that grow up by swallowing the weak at home appear very weak in the face of foreign crocodile peers. This situation eventually aroused the vigilance and reflection of the upper echelons of society. After a difficult game, in September 2005, the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Act was officially released as a supplementary regulation to the patent and copyright regulations. This regulation is aimed at the new internet-based industry, protecting the original business creative model of enterprises from plagiarism, imitation, and encroachment by others, thus promoting industrial upgrading and expansion, forming a good market competition atmosphere, and avoiding falling into a vicious cycle. The regulations stipulate that commercial creative copyright only accepts applications from enterprises, and after passing the review, a Creative Copyright Protection Certificate will be issued, with a validity period of 12 months. That is to say, give you a year of development time. After a year, you will face the cruel competition in the market. If you can't develop and establish an advantageous position during the protection period, then don't complain if you are defeated. After the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Regulations were formulated and passed and implemented, the State Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Information Technology, and the General Administration of Copyright jointly established the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Office, referred to as the Creative Protection Office. The Creative Protection Office is responsible for the approval, supervision, and arbitration of commercial creative copyright. The department is not big, and its power is not small. The implementation of regulations and the establishment of the Creative Protection Office have indeed protected the interests of small and medium-sized internet companies to a large extent, giving them room for survival and development. At present, 3 of the 7 internet giants in China have grown up under the protection of this regulation. There are also many small and medium-sized creative enterprises that have benefited a lot. It makes everyone dare to innovate and dare to innovate. Interestingly, due to the excellent results of domestic commercial creative copyright protection regulations, European and American countries facing the same problem have also adopted similar programs and established corresponding institutions. As early as a month ago, Lu Chen asked Lu Shi, in the name of Lu Chen Studio, to apply for creative copyright protection in the crowdfunding model to the Creative Protection Office, but so far there has been no news. It is not easy to apply for copyright protection. The Creation Protection Office is not the Greater China Music Library, controlled by a supercomputer. It needs to be reviewed manually, and the process is naturally long. Also, due to some unclear factors, even if it was an original creative model, it might not be able to get the final approval. In the industry, this protection permit was also jokingly referred to as the golden permit. It was said that any company that obtained this certificate would immediately attract the attention of venture capital investors. Lu Chen didn't have the ambition to make a name for himself in the internet industry, but he didn't want to waste this great idea. Therefore, he asked Li Mubai to help him inquire about the progress of the review and see if there was any hope of it passing the review. If there was no hope, then he would directly operate the crowdfunding online and stop waiting. Li Murong finished reading Lu Chen's creative copy. He pondered for a moment and said, "Your idea for this project is very interesting, but does it involve private fundraising?" Private fundraising is a minefield. The crime of illegal fundraising is very serious. The crowdfunding model is really similar. Lu Chen replied without hesitation, from the point of view of business and capital flow, crowdfunding is actually a form of group buying, which is essentially different from illegal fundraising. All project crowdfunding cannot be rewarded with equity or funds, and project sponsors cannot promise any financial benefits to supporters. They must be rewarded in kind, services, or media content. Support for a project is a purchase, not an investment. With a confident look on his face, he continued, "For example, I want to make a record, launch crowdfunding on the platform, and call on fans to subscribe. As long as the funds needed for production and distribution are met, it will be declared a success." This model can also be extended to more levels, such as the development of new products, the production of records can be crowdfunded, the publication of books can be crowdfunded, the making of movies can be crowdfunded, and even charity relief can be completed through crowdfunding. For this project, Lu Chen rummaged through the memories he got in the dream world. Many details were firmly remembered by him, so in the face of Li Murong's questioning, his answer was watertight. Chapter 158. Su Daiwan also can't save Li Mubai's life. Li Murong's meaning is very clear. He has no intention of investing in Lu Chen's crowdfunding website, but he wants Li Mubai to team up with Lu Chen to prevent him from idling around all day and damaging the Li family's reputation. Speaking of which, Li Mubai himself bumped into the door, otherwise Li Murong really wouldn't have found a suitable opportunity. "Aren't you loyal and want to help your friends?" "Alright, then I'll do something serious." Li Murong belongs to the kind of person with extremely firm will. Since he has made up his mind, it's useless for Li Mubai to beg anyone, not to mention that Su Daiwan also supports her husband's idea. This makes Lu Chen feel a little guilty. Li Mubai was dragged into the water by himself, but he also thinks that Li Murong's approach is okay. Li Mubai has a very good character. He doesn't have the extravagance of a rich child, but if he squanders his money at home like this, he will also be crippled in the long run. As a friend, Lu Chen is pleased to be able to cooperate the crowdfunding website with Li Mubai. Because he came up with this idea first and foremost to serve himself, he has no intention or energy and strength to make it bigger and stronger. Li Mubai is different. Looking at his elder brother's demeanor, if he supports it from behind, as long as he gets the creative protection certificate, he may be able to become another ID Photo. ID Photo is a famous image-sharing website in the United States. The founder is a technical otaku named Rodney. In 2010, he set up this personal website at home and has been independently maintained and operated by himself. By 2013, ID Photo's users had soared to 30 million, and then it was acquired by Windows for $1 billion, becoming a legend in the IT world. Lu Chen is familiar with the story of ID Photo. The inspiration of the crowdfunding website is not unrelated to this legend. Although he does not expect to become Rodney, it is not a dream to make a bucket of gold with crowdfunding. In addition to submitting an application for creative protection to the Creative Protection Office, Lu Chen also asked Lu Shi to submit the same registration documents to FSK in the United States and OKI in the European Union, which are currently awaiting review. The FSK was the American version of the Commercial Creative Copyright Protection Office, and its regulations covered Japan and Korea. Lee Murong ignored his younger brother's wailing. He said to Lu Chen, "It's decided. I'll still say the same thing. You two friends should discuss and solve the specific shares by yourselves. It's best to set up a new company to specialize in operation and management. I'll let Musher help you." Lee Murong deliberately explained, Mushi is Mubai's sister. She just graduated from Wharton Business School this year. Wharton School of Business. Lu Chen couldn't help but think of Su Xian's smile. Wasn't she studying at Wharton? Lee Murong continued, "As for creative protection, I'll take care of it. You don't need to worry about anything. Choose a time to launch the website first. If even I can't handle it." He didn't finish his sentence, but Lu Chen understood what he meant. If you can't even deal with Lee Murong, don't expect to get the all-important certificate. And if he can get the certificate, then there is no problem at all with the online crowdfunding operation first, who will pay attention to a small website that has just been launched. On the internet, there are countless websites that are opened and closed every day. Most importantly, Lee Murong seems very confident about this, and it is estimated that it will not be difficult to pass. Lu Chen said sincerely, "Thank you, Big Brother Lee." Lee Murong's solution is undoubtedly the most suitable for Lu Chen. In this way, he can be a hands-off shopkeeper. He doesn't need to worry about the online crowdfunding, and can always focus his career on his acting career. Lee Murong smiled faintly and said, "I want to thank you for letting my younger brother have a serious job to do." Lu Chen was speechless. At this time, Su Daiwan asked softly, "Are you done talking about your business?" Lee Murong looked at his wife in surprise and nodded, "Yes." Su Daiwan smiled sweetly and said, "Then I have something to ask Lu Chen." "Lu Chen, do you mind?" Lu Chen quickly said, "I don't mind, sister-in-law." Su Daiwan blinked and asked, "Lu Chen, do you have a girlfriend now?" Lee Murong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He thought his wife had something important to ask Lu Chen. But Su Daiwan obviously thinks this question is very important, and she is very serious. This question, Lu Chen felt a little embarrassed, but calmly replied, "Not at present." Su Daiwan asked, "Why not? A handsome and talented boy like you, there must be a lot of girls who take the initiative to pursue you, right? Isn't it too demanding? Or is it because you are an artist?" There was a faint smile in her eyes. Lu Chen is under a lot of pressure. To be honest, even when facing Lee Murong just now, he was not under so much pressure. After thinking about it, Lu Chen told the truth, "Sister-in-law, in fact, I don't have the idea of making a girlfriend for the time being. At present, I mainly focus on my career and want to make more money to help my family, so, Lu Chen is not a stupid person. How can he not hear that Su Daiwan is trying to be a matchmaker for him? But he really doesn't have that idea right now." Lee Murong said, "Well, a man should focus on his career. If he is successful in his career, why would he be afraid of not having a girlfriend?" Su Daiwan rolled her eyes at him and continued to ask, "Listening to you, your family situation is not good?" After winning the championship of Singing China, Lu Chen's family background has long been exposed on the internet, so he had nothing to hide and told Su Daiwan briefly. Su Daiwan was moved and sighed, "Auntie is really strong. If I have the chance, I want to visit her." Lee Murong also nodded, keeping promises and women are not inferior to men. This moral character can make many people feel ashamed. Her husband left the family and her life has fallen. Under the circumstances that it is difficult to maintain a livelihood, she can still insist on paying off huge debts. Such a promise and responsibility is not something that ordinary people can do. Su Daiwan's eyes softened. Then you and your sister must have had a hard time, right? Lu Qin said, it was very hard in the past few years, but this year it's much better. I've made a lot of money. He looked at Li Mubai and said, it's all thanks to Mubai's help. Li Mubai chuckled and stuck out his chest proudly. Su Daiwan pursed her lips and said with a smile, I know you have a good relationship. I also know that you wrote a song for him called Li Bai and asked him to pretend to pick up girls, right? Li Mubai, as if struck by lightning, suddenly said, sister-in-law, how did you know? He thought that only he and Lu Qin knew about it. Su Daiwan glanced at him, don't insult everyone's IQ, okay? Li Mubai wilted again. Su Daiwan knocked Li Mubai with a stick and asked Lu Qin, I like your song very much. Was that song, You Who Sat Next to Me, written for your first girlfriend? Her eyes sparkled with a moving light and she seemed to be very interested. Lu Qin said with a wry smile, sort of. First love is unforgettable. It is simple love, pure love. Some people will fight for their first love to the end, and some people have no choice but to say goodbye, but everyone will always remember their first love, because it is the most sincere feeling, without any distracting thoughts. When Lu Qin sang, You Who Sat Next to Me, he often recalled his first girlfriend. Su Daiwan smiled and said, she is my fan. Are you still in touch with her now? Lu Qin shook his head, I haven't been in touch for a long time. She moved to Xiangjiang with her family when she was in the second year of high school. Speaking of this, Lu Qin couldn't help saying, in fact, she prefers Taiwan and often says that she wants to live in Taipei. Taipei, Su Daiwan repeated the word softly, with a faint sadness in her eyes. I haven't been back for many years, but I often think of the rain in Taipei and the snow in Yangming Mountain. Lu Chen's heart moved and he said, sister-in-law, I didn't bring any gifts when I came to visit you this time. I'll give you a song. Su Daiwan immediately brightened her eyes. Okay, okay. The light that bloomed on her face was so dazzling that Li Murong, Li Mubai, and Lu Qin were all stunned. Li Murong reacted quickly and immediately held Su Daiwan's hand and glared at Li Mubai and Lu Qin. This is your sister-in-law. Don't think too much. Su Daiwan stood up happily and said, I haven't sung for a long time. Lu Qin, I'll accept this gift. Shall we go to the piano room and listen to you sing first? Do you know how to play the piano? Lu Qin originally wanted to go back and write the score and fill in the lyrics, and then let Li Mubai pass it on. He didn't expect that Su Daiwan couldn't wait to hear it now. Of course, he didn't want to spoil the other party's fun, so he nodded at once. After all, it was a wealthy family. The villa where Li Mubai lived not only had a separate tea room, but also a large piano room. The piano room was next to the tea room. It was very clean and tidy. On the cherrywood floor, there was an amazing black horizontal grand piano. Lu Qin easily distinguished the golden harp logo imprinted on the lid of the grand piano, Steinway. Steinway is one of the most famous piano brands in the world, and the price is also astonishingly expensive. Such a Steinway usually appears in top orchestras and music academies. Several million yuan apiece. Lu Qin couldn't afford it even when his family was in the best condition. Su Daiwan smiled and said to Lu Qin, when I used to live here with your big brother, I often played the piano for him. I haven't touched this piano for a long time. She went to the front of the piano and stretched out her slender hand and slid it over the keys. The beautiful sound of the piano floated out like running water. Su Daiwan's face was full of memories and joy, as if she remembered many good things in the past. Looking at his wife, Li Murong's resolute face softened. After a moment, Su Daiwan said, Lu Qin, I'll listen to you now. Lu Qin nodded and sat down on the piano stool. He took a long and deep breath. Chapter 159. Lu Chen used to study the piano, but he didn't study it deeply. At most, he was at the level of level 4 or 5. Later, he switched to guitar, and the piano was naturally abandoned. It wasn't until recently that he picked it up again. Playing the piano is a very pretentious thing, and it is used as an excellent accompaniment, especially for romantic and lyrical songs. The accompaniment effect of the piano is not comparable to other instruments, so Lu Chen put in a lot of effort to practice. There's no need to reach a professional level. It's enough to bluff laymen. Most importantly, if you put aside your utilitarian heart, practicing playing the piano is actually a very happy thing. Listening to the beautiful piano music flowing through your fingertips, your mind can be sublimated. Lu Chen has never played such an expensive piano. The timbre of this Steinway is excellent. Even with his not very professional ears, he can hear the huge difference between it and an ordinary piano. Its bass is incomparably strong, its alto is warm and wide, and its treble is bright and gorgeous. In particular, its alto is the best, with a strong appeal and expressive power. It is worthy of the name of the piano emperor. Playing the Steinway, Lu Chen felt a lot of pressure. He was afraid that his bad skills would tarnish this million-yuan artifact. But he was still confident. When his fingers gently pressed on the warm keys, his mood quickly returned to peace. Then he played the prelude. Soothing, soft, uncomplicated structure, and the pleasant sound of the piano echoed in the piano room. The name of this song is, Come to Taipei to Watch the Rain in Winter. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter, don't cry in a foreign land. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter, dreams are the only luggage. Come back softly and don't wake up the past, just pretend that I've never been far away. If we meet and hide the words in our hearts, no one knows you better than I do. The sky is still the sky, the rain is still the rain, there's no longer you under my umbrella. I'm still me, you're still you, it's just one more winter. When Lu Chen began to play and sing, Su Daiwan half leaned on Li Murong and looked at him with a smile. However, when she heard the first line of the lyrics, her delicate body couldn't help but tremble. There was a complicated look in her eyes. Come to Taipei to Watch the Rain in Winter is a lyrical song about a lost love. Although the mood expressed in the lyrics is a lingering sense of loss, revealing the singer's inner melancholy, but still able to face reality optimistically. The tune of this song was lyrical and calm, with a kind of simple and elegant beauty, which was very suitable for a female voice to sing. When Lu Chen sang this song, he weakened the melancholy and increased the sense of maturity and depth. With a slightly bitter but clear and smooth voice, and the slightly lonely feelings in his heart, he performed the song with a different kind of charm. Because there was no amplification equipment, he deliberately lowered the sound of the piano, which also reduced the appeal of many works. But it still poked Su Daiwan's tears. Su Daiwan grew up in Taipei. Her family was not well off. She went out to work before finishing high school. Later, she was discovered by a star scout and entered the entertainment industry. With her excellent appearance and natural singing voice, her star future was extremely bright. But only she knew how difficult those days were. On the surface of the incomparably glorious life was hidden a dangerous current. Her father, who was addicted to gambling, her agent who had ulterior motives, the company she signed with was cold and heartless, and her competitors who were jealous of her. It was as if a mountain was pressing on her, making it hard for her to breathe. Recalling the past, Su Daiwan felt that she was so lucky. In her most difficult time, she met Li Murong, so they formed a lifelong destiny. She and he met on a rainy day. Li Murong took her and her sister back to the mainland to settle down, and she never returned to Taipei after she quit singing. Only in her dreams did Su Daiwan dream of the rain in Taipei and those who used to be familiar with her. It's hard to leave her homeland. Li Murong is not her first love either. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter, don't cry in a foreign land. Come to Taipei to watch the rain in winter, maybe I'll meet you. The streets are deserted, but the mind is crowded, there are memories in every corner. If we meet, there's no need to escape, I'll eventually pass by. The sky is still the sky, the rain is still the rain, I'm no longer familiar with this city. I'm still me, you're still you, it's just one more winter. Unknowingly, crystal tears fell from the corners of Su Daiwan's eyes, and she leaned weakly into Li Murong's arms. Li Murong hugged his wife and stared at Lu Qin with rather unkind eyes. This kid, did he do it on purpose? Fortunately, Lu Qin didn't repeat it after singing it once. Clap. Clap. Su Daiwan straightened up, wiped away the tears on her face, and clapped her hands with a smile. Li Mubai also applauded. He didn't have the same feeling as Su Daiwan. He just felt that the song was good. As for why his sister-in-law cried, Li Bai wouldn't think about it. That's Big Brother's job. Lu Qin stood up and said, Sister-in-law, I'm really sorry. This song is not very suitable. He just felt something in his heart, and suddenly thought of this song. He didn't think too much about it and took it out. Now that he thought about it, it felt a little inappropriate. No, no. Su Daiwan said without hesitation, this song is very good, very good. I like it. She looked at her husband and said coquettishly, you can't be unhappy. I've thought about it. I'm going to release another album. Li Mubai supported, sister-in-law is mighty. Li Murong couldn't help glaring at Lu Qin, the culprit, and said with a wry smile, it's good that you like it. Li Murong knew that Su Daiwan was actually very lonely with him. She had no relatives or friends on the mainland. After her sister went abroad, she was even more lonely. He was often busy with work and social activities, and didn't have much time to accompany her. Su Daiwan only has him, and he has 3 wives. Most importantly, the two have been together for so long, but they haven't had children yet. The guilt in his heart made Li Murong fade his resentment towards Lu Qin and agreed to her request without hesitation. Su Daiwan said happily, after the album, I'm going to have another concert, or a fan meeting. I wonder how many people still remember me now. Lu Qin, help me write 2 more songs. Lu Qin couldn't help looking at Li Murong. It seems to be a big deal. Su Daiwan hugged her husband's arm hard and said with a smile, you promised me that you wouldn't interfere in my affairs. I'm going to get sick from boredom at home. Let's just look for a job. Okay. The tears on her face were not dry, but her smile was as gorgeous as spring flowers, with a charming charm. Li Murong sighed and said, can I say no? Su Daiwan shook her head, no. Li Murong nodded. Li Mubai was eager to see the world in chaos. Sister-in-law, if you release an album and hold a concert, I'll pull all my friends to support you. Lu Qin, however, had a feeling of opening Pandora's box and hurriedly said, it's getting late. Brotherly, sister-in-law, I'll go back first. Su Daiwan reminded, don't forget to write songs for me. Lu Qin coughed twice and said, well, I'll write it and ask Mubai to give it to you. He winked at Li Mubai. Li Mubai was not too stupid after all. He immediately said, don't worry, sister-in-law. I'm responsible for supervising Brother Chen's songwriting. I'll take him back. It's not easy to get a taxi here. Li Murong waved his hand, go, go. He was a little annoyed to look at these 2 guys. Lu Qin was relieved and hurriedly followed Li Mubai to leave. Su Daiwan and Li Murong sent him to the door. After Li Mubai drove Lu Qin away, Su Daiwan asked Li Murong, what do you think of Lu Qin? Li Murong said in a bad mood, not so good. Su Daiwan was startled at first, and then immediately laughed and trembled, you're not jealous, are you? Li Murong had a sullen face and didn't speak. Su Daiwan was not afraid, because she knew her husband very well and knew that Li Murong was pretending on purpose. She said with a smile, "What do you think if I introduce him to Xiaoqian?" Li Murong was stunned and said, "You want to introduce Lu Qin to Qin Qian?" Su Daiwen was a little unhappy. "What's with your expression? Isn't my sister good? Xiaoqian is so beautiful. She just likes to play. Lu Chen is tall, handsome and talented. It's rare that he is also very steady and sensible. He should be able to control her." Qin Qian is Su Daiwan's younger sister, but Su Daiwan follows her father's surname, while her younger sister follows her mother's surname. Li Murong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He never understood why women always like to matchmake for others. But introducing Lu Qin to Qin Qian. It sounds very interesting. He couldn't help touching his chin and said, "Okay, I'll listen to you. I'm afraid that Qin Qian doesn't like Lu Qin." Su Daiwan said confidently, "She will listen to me." Li Murong shook his head secretly. He suddenly bent down to pick up Su Daiwan and said, "Don't talk about them. Let's do our own things. We'll stay here tonight." Su Daiwan giggled, her eyes were as soft as water, and the air seemed to have a charming taste. At this moment, Lu Qin didn't know that he was being remembered. He was riding in Li Mubai's sports car and galloping on the second ring road. Li Mubai said as he drove, "Brother Qin, you have to help me with the website. Big brother is going to cut off my pocket money. I can't live like this." Lu Qin thought for a moment and said, "If you can get a protection certificate, the online crowdfunding is promising. In fact, you don't need to take care of it personally. At worst, you can hire a professional manager. Usually, you just need to pull business. In any business, early networking is very important. In the early stage of the online crowdfunding, as long as you can pull in a few powerful big customers and put the brand on the track, the later business will be very easy to do." Pull business. Li Mubai immediately relaxed. "That's simple. I still have a lot of friends in Beijing." He knew that networking can make money, but he had never thought of making money by networking before. Lu Qin said with a smile, "We already have our first business. In a few days, my album will be on sale on QQ Music. I want to launch a crowdfunding campaign for the album at the same time, hoping to get a good start. After preparing for so long, the real test time is coming." Note: coming to Taipei to watch the rain in winter. Lyricist, Li Ziheng/Wu Ruochuan/composer, Jean Taizhang. Chapter 160. On September 5, Lu Chen's debut album, You Who Sat Next to Me, was pre-promoted in QQ Music. This album, which took more than 2 months to complete, is undoubtedly the real business focus of Lu Chen's studio after its establishment. Its sales success or failure has a great impact on Lu Chen's status in the pop music world. No independent artist has released his first solo album so soon after his debut. As a newly famous singer-songwriter, Lu Chen's talent is beyond doubt. Many of his songs have been on the original music list, and the live version of the original works in Singing China has also frequently been on the QQ Music list. QQ Music, therefore, there are many people in the circle who are paying attention to the online sale of this album, but not everyone is optimistic about the sales of You Who Sat Next to Me. There are many negative voices in the Waves blog. First of all, Lu Qin did not make great efforts to promote and hype the album. He advertised in his blog, and the publicity position on the QQ Music website was also very ordinary, giving people the feeling that he was shy and reluctant to spend money. Nowadays, it's basically a fool's dream for artists to become popular without packaging promotion. If a new singer's album doesn't spend a lot of effort on publicity and hype, its sales are often very poor. Relevant stakeholders, such as websites and portal media such as QQ Music, will also intentionally or unintentionally ignore it, and will not easily give free publicity resources. This is the unspoken rule in the industry. Like Lu Chen's original works in Singing China, many songs have been on the hit list and download list of QQ Music, but with the end of Singing China, they quickly fell off the list and disappeared. The reason is very simple. Lu Chen did not spend money on advertising in QQ Music. How could he occupy such important promotion resources for nothing? Being able to appear on the list is already a great deal of face. If QQ Music was not a partner of Beijing Television's Singing China, it is estimated that it would not have a chance to be on the list at all. This time, Lu Chen officially cooperated with QQ Music. The latter took away the exclusive sales rights, and a small advertising space still has to pay 100,000 yuan in real money. Under normal circumstances, with the power of the champion of Singing China, Lu Chen's album still has a lot of promise. But he just had to run into a few strong opponents. The first opponent, Cui Jingji, was the runner-up of Shonan TV Super Male Voice in 2014, signed to Orange Field Entertainment, and on September 1 promoted his debut album, Provocation, in QQ Music. This Chinese-Korean idol singer was the new artist being promoted by the industry giant Qingtian Entertainment. After nearly a year of brewing, his album is absolutely excellent. Its title song, Provocation, is currently ranked first on the QQ Music Network hit list, which can be described as aggressive. To Zhou Bei is the winner of the 2015 Ace Variety Show. She signed to Star Media, which happened to be the holding company of Starlight Show. Zhou Bei, a graduate of Huin, is a real talented woman. She also brought her debut album, Blooming Flower, which began to warm up on QQ Music on September 2. As for the third opponent, it is undoubtedly Lu Chen's old acquaintance, Ling Xiaoxiao. Ling Xiaoxiao performed poorly in the final of Super Singer and only got 5th place. Strictly speaking, his defeat really had something to do with Lu Chen. The fan groups of the two sides once fought to the death on Wave's blog, and in the end, Lu Chen won. This time, Ling Xiaoxiao took his debut album, True Love is Invincible, to Lu Fei QQ Music against Lu Chen, which undoubtedly carried a strong taste of revenge. Ling Xiaoxiao's signing company is Jin Hongwei's Juxing Corporation. His solo album and Lu Chen's production time should be about the same, and the pre-promotion began on September 3. For new artists and singers debuted their solo albums on QQ Music at the same time, and carried out intensive publicity and pre-promotion at such a time. Such a situation has never happened in the history of QQ Music website. Generally speaking, unless it is a sworn enemy or deliberate hype, there is a tacit understanding between entertainment record companies and agencies. The debut albums of their artists will often stagger the publicity period to avoid the situation of fighting against each other. The competition in the pop music world is also very fierce. Every year, a large number of newcomers emerge. Those who are qualified to release albums are all characters promoted by various companies. No one wants to fight with their opponents at a critical moment. Killing 1,000 enemies may hurt oneself 800. And Orange Field Entertainment, Starlight Media and Juxing Corporation are all top or first-class companies in the industry. It can be imagined how fierce the scene will be when the three parties fight together. In fact, the main advertising space of QQ Music website has basically been divided up by the three companies, and in blogs, forums, post bars and other places, their publicity offensive is very fierce. In contrast, Lu Chen is simply pitifully weak. To put it simply, after Lu Chen made his debut in Singing China and won the championship, he did not participate in any notices, nor did he shoot advertisements or hold fan meetings to brush his face. He was so low-key that he was simply not like an artist. Cui Jingji, Zhou Bei, and Ling Xiaoxiao, which one of them is not promoting themselves everywhere? In today's fast-paced era, the ups and downs of star idols are very frequent. It is very easy for fans to like the new and dislike the old. Artists who do not often appear in entertainment news will soon be forgotten. Lu Qin has the strength, but if he doesn't take on any notices or hype up, the popularity that he has accumulated with great difficulty will soon be exhausted. Now is not the 1980s or 1990s, when a popular song can be sung for more than 10 or 20 years. Our biggest problem is that most of the songs in the album have resources on the internet. Lu Qin's studio, Lu Shi's manager's office temporarily served as a small meeting. Except for Qin Xiaomei, the receptionist, all the other members of the studio were present, including Li Mubai. Her sister rubbed her wrinkled eyebrows and said helplessly, "So fans won't have a strong desire to buy." Compared with the albums of Cui Jingji, Zhou Bei, and Ling Xiaoxiao, Lu Chen's album, You Who Sat Next to Me, is very transparent. All 10 songs can be found on the internet as free resources, lacking a sense of mystery and expectation. Big naturally reduces the desire to buy. Especially in the face of strong competition, many pop music lovers are likely to search for pirated content on the internet after Lu Chen's album goes on the shelves, and are more willing to spend money on the other three's new albums. Now, Lu Shi has become more and more involved in the role of studio manager and agent. She spends a lot of time every day to understand the news developments on the internet and in the circle, and racked her brains to come up with ideas for Lu Qin. She said, "I just received a call from the head of QQ Music Business, asking if we need to postpone the album's release time, so as not to collide with Cui Jingji. According to the agreement reached between the studio and QQ Music, You Who Sat Next to Me will be pre-promoted on September 5th and officially launched on September 8th. Cui Jingji's Provocation was also launched on the same day. This new generation of idol in the entertainment industry is not an ordinary figure. His father is a famous actor in China, and his mother is a well-known artist in South Korea, so he has a wide network and many supporters in the circle. Changtian Entertainment, which he signed up with, is a big company in the industry, with many star idols under its banner, and has a very close cooperation with Shonan TV, which is just short of wearing the same pair of pants. With connections and background, and the support of top companies, Cui Jingji is handsome and fashionable. He is a model of the Korean-style fresh meat that is very popular with young people at present. The fans of his Waves blog are close to 10 million. No matter how many real fans or zombie fans there are, in terms of popularity alone, he absolutely crushes Lu Qin. Cui Jingji's debut album can be said to be highly anticipated. But such a coincidence to collide with Lu Qin was very intriguing. It should be known that generally speaking, the interval between the pre-promotion and the launch on the QQ Music website will not be too long. 3 or 4 days is the best, and 5 days is also fine, but Cui Jingji's publicity began on the 1st. Zhou Bei's album went on sale yesterday, and Ling Xiaoxiao's album is today. The people present smelled a strong smell of conspiracy. Li Feiyu, Qin Xian and others couldn't help showing a worried look. Even Li Mubai, who has always been big, straightened his back and sat up straight. This third young masterly originally came to make himself known, but the debut of Lu Chen's album really has something to do with him. Because he is the core figure of Lu Chen's fan group, he is an indispensable existence. It's just that Li Mubai didn't expect that releasing an album would be so troublesome and involve so many problems. He couldn't help muttering, "Your circle is really messy." Well, this sentence was also told to him by Lu Qin. Everyone is not a fool. No one will forget the grievances between Lu Qin and Shonan TV. To say that it was purely a coincidence would be a bit of an insult to their IQ. Of course, a behemoth like Shonan TV may not care about Lu Qin at all, but as a partner, Changtian Entertainment may not be so. They will certainly be happy to let Cui Jingji step on Lu Qin. On the other hand, Ling Xiaoxiao, who has had a direct conflict with Lu Qin, is not much of a threat, because everyone knows what kind of goods he is, and the quality of his album is estimated to be unlikely to be very high. Lu Shi analyzed that Ling Xiaoxiao was involved, and most likely he wanted to take advantage of the situation to hype up. For new singers are fighting for the debut of their albums in QQ Music, which is undoubtedly a good hype hotspot. Jin Hongwei is a famous hype king in the industry. There are wolves in front and tigers behind, so how should Lu Chen face their challenges? Everyone's eyes were focused on him. Lu Chen was unexpectedly calm and said with a smile, "In fact, everyone thinks too seriously about the problem." His smile was still full of confidence. Chapter 161. Lu Shi, Chen Xian, Li Feiyu, Chen Xiang and Li Mubai. Lu Chen's bright eyes slowly swept across the faces of all the people present. Some of them are Lu Chen's relatives, some are friends, some are former colleagues, and some are original fans. Due to fate, everyone sat here together and formed a small team. No matter what profession they used to be or what job they did, now everyone is a newcomer who broke into the entertainment industry. They lack enough experience and strength, and are full of confusion about the future. What makes Lu Chen confident is the unity of this team. The current studio is like a seedling that has just sprouted, still very fragile, but the roots that support the tender leaves are flexible and full of vitality. Even in the face of the crushing of the big stone and the baptism of the storm, they still have the strength to persist. He is fearless. In fact, everyone thinks too seriously about the problem. Lu Chen said with a smile, "We don't need to defeat anyone. As long as this album is on the shelves and sells, it will be a success. And we don't need to try our best to compete with others for the sales list. The key is whether we can recover our costs. Our cost is very low. The production cost of the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, is unimaginable to most people in the industry. Generally speaking, the production cost of a qualified or even excellent complete album ranges from hundreds of thousands to millions. It is normal to exceed 1 million. If you add in the publicity cost, it can reach 3 or 4 million. And the entire production cost of You Who Sat Next to Me is only 100,000. All 10 songs were written by Lu Chen himself. He didn't need to spend a penny to buy songs from others, which saved at least hundreds of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of costs. It's normal for a songwriter with a good reputation to ask for tens of thousands of yuan for a song. Secondly, in terms of arrangement, accompaniment and recording, Lu Chen did not choose a first-class production unit in the industry, such as a big company like Tianjai Workshop, but put it in the little-known Nirvana studios. This saved hundreds of thousands of yuan. According to Lin Jijie, music director of Flying Stone Records, the real value of the album produced by Nirvana Studios for Lu Chen should be between 200,000 and 300,000 yuan. He got a big bargain. The production cost of 100,000 yuan is only equivalent to the price of an ordinary advertising space on QQ Music Network for 10 days. Plus this advertising fee, excluding labor, the cost is only 200,000 yuan. According to the contract signed between Lu Chen Studio and QQ Music, You Who Sat Next to Me will only be sold as an album and not as a single. The price for ordinary members is 10 yuan per album, and VIP members will get a 20% discount. The share between Lu Chen Studio and QQ Music is 50%, and 50%. Even if they sell at the price, Chen Studio, Chen and QQ Music, Zhang will sell the album to Chen. Such a profit margin is something that Cui Jingji, Zhou Bei, or Ling Xiaoxiao can't catch up with. They have invested millions of dollars in advertising for the album. Plus the production cost, they have to sell at least 400,000 to 500,000 copies to break even. That is a sales performance that is completely impossible to achieve unless they cheat. Of course, whether it is Cui Jingji, Zhou Bei, or Ling Xiaoxiao, it is impossible for the company they signed to think about recovering the cost by selling albums online. They mainly make profits through artists' commercial performances, advertisements, peripherals, and so on. Therefore, the goals of the two sides are different from the beginning. Lu Chen's requirements are not high. He is very satisfied with recovering the cost. As long as the reputation of the album is built up, his position and style in the circle will be improved, and there will be plenty of opportunities to make money later. Therefore, Lu Chen doesn't need to compete with them, nor will he desperately throw money to gamble. We just need to do our own thing. Lu Chen said to everyone, what does it have to do with Cui Jingji's album on the same day as him being strong? Our goal is to sell 50,000 copies. If we reach 50,000 copies, we will win. 50,000 is a piece of cake, Li Mubai said disapprovingly. Lu Jiajun has more than 50,000 members. There are more than 1 million fans in the live broadcast room, and there are still 5 million followers in the Waves blog. Lu Chen shook his head with a smile. In addition to Lu Jiajun's hardcore fans, it is completely unknown how many fans in the live broadcast room and Waves blog can be converted into paying users, especially since the number of blog fans is extremely high. The number of followers of his Waves blog exceeded 5 million, meeting the basic requirement of a big V, but passers-by accounted for most of them. Many of them were attracted by the last 2 blog battles, and were not real fans. It would be naive to expect these passers-by fans to pay for songs. Of course, with the support of Lu Jiajun's hardcore fans, there should be no problem with 50,000 sales. Compared with the online sales of QQ Music, Lu Chen is actually more concerned about the album, which is really cool. Drop. At this time, Lu Shi's cell phone on her desk suddenly rang. She picked it up and checked it, and then turned on her computer. Xiaomei said there's news for us to see. Sister Xiaomei, Chen Xiaomei, works as a receptionist in Lu Chen's studio. In her spare time, she also helps Lu Shi search and browse the internet, especially the gossip news and insider news in the entertainment industry. She now sent a video link to Lu Shi's QQ, Cui Jingji's. Lu Shi clicked on the link and turned the computer screen around for everyone to see. The source of the video is the Waves Entertainment channel. The content is an exclusive interview with Cui Jingji by a reporter from Waves. Waves is one of the largest portals in China. It has 2 advantage resources, Waves blog and Waves games. Therefore, the entertainment channel of Waves has a great influence in the entertainment industry. But it is not easy to get an exclusive interview with Waves. Unless you have real talent, you must pay for it, which is also an important part of publicity and hype. On the 27-inch HD screen, Cui Jingji is talking to the microphone of an entertainment reporter. The Waves entertainment reporter asked, Mr. Cui Jingji, I heard that your debut solo album is about to be released, right? Cui Jingji said with a smile, yes, it will be released on QQ Music on the 8th of this month. You are welcome to subscribe and buy. Cui Jingji is 20 years old this year, 2 years younger than Lu Chen. He first worked as a trainee in South Korea's KG agency for 3 years, and then returned to China to officially make his debut. Last year, he participated in Shonen TV's Super Male Voice talent show for the first time, and Cui Jingji won the runner-up title. He can sing and dance, and has a strong Korean star temperament, so he was loved by many boys and girls. Waves entertainment reporter, so what's the style of your album? Cui Jingji replied without hesitation, passion and enthusiasm can make everyone's heart beat faster. 4 of the 10 songs were written by me. I believe it won't disappoint everyone. The Waves entertainment reporter said with a smile, everyone says that you are a very talented singer and songwriter. As far as I know, Lu Chen, the champion of this year's Singing China, will also debut his album on QQ Music on the same day. Do you have any pressure? Hearing the Waves entertainment reporter's obviously provocative question, everyone finally understood why Sister Xiaomei wanted to send this interview video to Lu Shi. No pressure at all. Cui Jingji smiled confidently and said, Lu Chen is a very strong singer and songwriter, but I am better than him, and my album is better, so the winner must be me. He's so crazy. Chen Xan couldn't help saying, he doesn't put Brother Chen in his eyes. Li Mubai clenched his fists. This guy, Cui Jingji, was indeed crazy, and he was not just confident, as if his character was like this. But in the eyes of his fans, Cui Jingji was sincere and not hypocritical. He said what he wanted to say without hypocrisy. But if they really thought that he was not scheming and stupid, then they were wrong. The new artist who returned from South Korea knew how to look at the dishes under the pot. When he should be modest, he was still very modest. As for Lu Chen, he was obviously not the object of his modesty. The Waves Entertainment reporter obviously liked this topic very much. He further asked, "Why are you so sure? Several songs in Lu Chen's album have good reviews." Cui Jingji nodded and said, "The songs he wrote are good, but they are really out of date. They belong to the nostalgic style of the 1980s and 1990s, and I know what songs young people like me really like." What the F***ck? Li Feiyu's lungs were about to explode with anger when he heard this. It's so shameless. What he said was not bad, but in fact, he directly stepped on Lu Chen's soles. Anyone could hear the sarcasm in his words. It was fine to say this to others in private, but in a public interview, he was so arrogant. Not to mention Li Feiyu, Li Mubai and others, even Lu Chen frowned. Even a clay figurine has 3 points of anger. If he was still indifferent when someone stepped on his head, what kind of man would he be? Lu Chen was not a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Chen Xiang said angrily, "I used to like him, but now I know how annoying he is." Lu Shi's face was sullen. He is deliberately hyping up the topic. After a period of study and research, her sister has a basic understanding of all kinds of hype tricks in the entertainment industry. She could see at a glance what Cui Jingji and Waves Entertainment were doing. Such a method of hyping up could be considered to be very carefully controlled. But it was also unbearable. The key was that Cui Jingji was not afraid of being talked about. He had full confidence that he could beat Lu Chen in sales. With so many advertisements smashed down, Lu Chen could be smashed to death. The winner was not condemned, and fans would only praise him. Lu Chen suddenly smiled and said, "It seems that we really have to be serious. Sister, then let's also spend some money on online hype." "No, it's publicity." Originally, Lu Chen didn't want to spend too much money on the promotion of this album, but now his idea has changed. Lu Shi's eyes suddenly lit up. "Do you have any good ideas?" Lu Chen said, "Let me think about it first." His eyes stared at Cui Jingji, who was in high spirits on the screen, and a little coldness appeared in his eyes. "Since you want to fight, then let's fight to our heart's content." Chapter 162. On September 6th, the second day of Lu Chen's debut album, You Who Sat Next to Me, on QQ Music. At 9:10 in the morning, a small V with the ID, Entertainment Gossipy Man, Lu Chen FMX in a blog post on Waves blog. The content was a video clip of yesterday's interview with Cui Jingji on Waves Entertainment channel. While Lu Chen, Entertainment Gossipy Man, added a smiley face symbol that represents bad intentions. Entertainment Gossipy Man is a little-known ID on Waves blog, with more than 1 million followers. He specializes in reposting all kinds of gossip news in the entertainment industry on his blog, and can post hundreds of blog posts a day. The people have a fondness for gossip, especially the big and small things in the entertainment industry, which has always been the focus of public attention. This small V has taken a fancy to the market that exists in it. He has been tirelessly sorting out and moving entertainment news all year round, and his popularity on his blog is actually very good. What he likes to do most is to at the parties involved in the gossip news on his blog. Although most star artists will ignore this Entertainment Gossipy Man, there are always exceptions. 5 minutes later, Lu Chen replied, "Come to fight." 3 simple words, plus an exclamation mark, made the Entertainment Gossipy Man dumbfounded. He knew all 3 words, but when they were combined, he didn't understand what was come to fight. This small V felt very interesting, so he posted another blog post, asking what come to fight meant. He Lu Chen FMX again. But this time, Lu Chen ignored him and did not reply. However, there were still many fans of the entertainment gossipy man. Seeing this special blog post, they all replied with speculations. There were many kinds of answers, and some of them were so imaginative that people couldn't help laughing. But soon, someone explained that it should be the abbreviation of come to fight, according to the content of the previous and subsequent blog posts. The entertainment gossipy man suddenly realized and sent 3 laughing emojis in a row, while Lu Chen FMX and Cui Jingji. His intention was obvious. He wanted to provoke a fight between the two. Unfortunately, neither Lu Chen nor Cui Jingji paid attention to him. However, the term come to fight, which had a different meaning, was being reposted everywhere on Waves. Lu Chen has more than 5 million fans on Waves blog, and Cui Jingji has more than 9 million fans. Both of them made their debut in talent shows. One is the runner-up of Shonen TV's Super Male Voice, and the other is the champion of Singing China. Moreover, both of them were very young and talented, and they were going to release their albums on the same website on the same day. This undoubtedly had the hot elements of entertainment gossip. Therefore, many people, including the verified V accounts, reposted the blog post of entertainment gossip man, spreading Cui Jingji's provocation and Lu Chen's response to more places. Fans who were familiar with Choi Young-chi knew that this Chinese-Korean idol was very direct with his words. He was arrogant and would never admit defeat. It was completely reasonable for him to think that he could easily defeat Lu Chen. However, Lu Chen's response was truly shocking. As a new independent artist, Lu Chen gave everyone the impression of being modest and polite. Even if others provoked him, he would not object fiercely, and would use facts to prove himself. But today, his answer to Cui Jingji's provocation was full of courage. If you want to fight, then let's fight to our heart's content. No silence, no patience, no modesty, no arrogance. These 3 simple words were so sonorous and powerful. The group of people who often read blogs were mainly young people. Most of them were at the age of rebellion and impulsiveness. Therefore, under the deliberate exaggeration and dissemination of some people, this fresh word had more and more influence on blogs, and quickly spread into forums, post bars, and QQ groups. And it was Lu Chen's fans who really heated up the word. After many members of Lu Jiejun learned the ins and outs of the matter, they were all filled with righteous indignation. Without anyone to organize and encourage them, they logged into their own accounts, went to Cui Jingji's blog, post bars, and related forums, and left a domineering declaration of come to fight. Of course, Cui Jingji's fans couldn't stand it and immediately fought with Lu Jiejun's fans. September 6th happened to be Sunday, and there were too many people who had nothing to do. As a result, the word became more and more popular. That night, come to fight appeared on the hot search term list of Waves' blog. Thousands of blog netizens therefore knew about Lu Chen, the showdown between him and Cui Jingji, and the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, which will be released on the 8th. Just when this hot word appeared on the homepage of Waves' blog, Wang Yu had just clicked on a post in dormitory 307 of the graduate building of Beijing University of Technology. As the moderator of the Beihai City Forum, student Wang Yu really liked this part-time job. When his roommates went out with their girlfriends to romance, he would sit upright in front of the computer, like a dignified lord patrolling his own territory. Once he discovered any disharmonious situation, he would decisively block it. Sometimes, he would enthusiastically help rookies who had just come to the forum and enthusiastically answer daily questions. He was praised for his conscientious work and obtained great satisfaction from it. Opening this new post that had just been posted on the Free World section, to be honest, Wang Yu was disgusted. Because this post was a promotion post, and it was an official promotion post. Beihai City Forum, also known as Beihai University Town Forum, has a history of 20 years. It is a well-known college student BBS community in the country. It is famous because it gathers a large number of Capital University students. A BBS community can exist for such a long time. First of all, it needs a steady stream of capital investment. It must be realized through advertising and other means to achieve profits or subsidize operating expenses. Official promotion posts are also a way for the website to make money. The reason why the forum vigorously blocked those external advertising posts and promotion posts, in addition to maintaining the normal order of the community, is that the most important reason is that the fertile water does not flow into the field of outsiders. As a moderator, Wang Yu has the obligation to protect this kind of post and keep it at the top of the page. As a moderator of Beihai City Forum, in addition to satisfying the needs of his heart, he also gets subsidies. Despite this, Wang Yu still doesn't like official promotion posts. He feels that every time he opens this kind of post, a sacred place in his heart is tarnished once. Well, although Wang Yu is a science and engineering man, he has a literary heart. The most touching voice of this year's graduation season. I cried. What about you? Just looking at the title of the post, Wang Yu had goosebumps all over his body. He completely pinched his nose and opened it, ready to routinely add essence to the top. However, the next moment, Wang Yu was stunned. Because he found that he knew the character in the frozen picture of the video attached to the post. And he was very familiar with it. Lu Qin, the champion of Singing China. Wang Yu first knew Lu Qin, not in this popular reality show, but in a forum a few months ago called, At Ho-Hai Bar in the Evening, I Found a Handsome Guy and a Very Nice Song. Post. At that time, this post caused a lot of controversy in the Free World section. This was the first time that Wang Yu heard Lu Qin sing. He sang, You Who Sat Next to Me. He added the medal of moderator recommendation to this post. In the forum section, if a post is added with the medal of moderator recommendation, it will automatically be pinned to the top for 24 hours, so that all people who browse the post can see it. This kind of high-level medal is not unlimited. Wang Yu's authority is 10, which means that he can only add the moderator recommendation medal to a post 10 times a month. Most importantly, once a recommendation post is pinned, it will be judged by countless people. Therefore, moderators who cherish their feathers and value their reputation will never easily give out a recommendation medal. Even if it's an official promotion post. Because of this song, You Who Sat Next to Me, Wang Yu knew about Lu Qin, the bar singer. Later, he saw him again in the Singing China competition and followed it all the way. In the end, Lu Qin won the championship of Singing China, and he was so excited that he drank 2 bottles of beer to celebrate. Now that he saw that this official promotion post was actually related to Lu Qin, Wang Yu immediately chose to play it. The picture of the video was very clear. It was obviously not shot with a mobile phone. The background displayed in the picture let him know that this was a video clip of Zhanghai University's 2015 graduation party. Lu Qin stood on the big stage with his guitar in his arms, and the huge screen behind him was showing the words, Those flowers. Those flowers. Wang Yu almost jumped up. He heard Lu Qin sing this song in Singing China. He liked it very much at that time. Later, he downloaded the live version of the audio file from QQ Music Network and kept it in his mobile phone. This was the first time he had seen this video. That laughter reminds me of my flowers, quietly blooming for me in every corner of my life. I once thought that I would stay by her side forever. Today, we have left, in the vast sea of people. A moving singing voice quietly drifted into Wang Yu's ears. Unlike the Singing China competition, Lu Qin used a guitar to accompany him at the graduation party, and the sound quality was certainly incomparable to the live version recorded with professional equipment on Beijing television. But listening to this familiar song, watching Lu Chen playing and singing alone in the spotlight, and watching the changing picture on the screen behind him, those beautiful, lovely, innocent, and enthusiastic girls appeared and disappeared. His heart felt like it was being gripped by an invisible hand, and even his breathing stopped. Lu Chen's singing drifted in the auditorium, and the camera turned to the auditorium. Many girls were crying. They either sobbed alone, or hugged and comforted each other, and wantonly vented the emotions that were aroused in their hearts. Wang Yu could feel the atmosphere of the scene through the video. The kind of sad atmosphere that was so strong that it made his nose sour and the corners of his eyes dry. When the picture came back, Lu Chen's eyes were already wet with tears on the stage, but he still had a faint smile on his face. He sang so emotionally that his singing voice was choked. Wang Yu felt that he sang much better than in Singing China. The moderator of the Beihai City Forum, without hesitation, pinned the post and sent a recommendation medal. It doesn't matter whether it's an official promotion post or not. Chapter 163. Capital International Airport. A Boeing 747 was steadily parked on the tarmac. This CA-897 flight had just completed a 13-hour flight from New York to Beijing in the United States. In the arrival hall on the first floor of Terminal T1, Lu Chen, Lu Shi, and Li Mubai were standing in the crowd. They came to welcome Li Mubai's sister, Li Mushi, back to China. After a while, a large number of passengers appeared in the front passage, making the entire arrival hall noisy. Sister. Li Mubai found a familiar figure among the passengers and quickly waved to greet her. It was a beautiful woman in her 20s, with phoenix eyes, willow leaf eyebrows, bright eyes, and white teeth. She was wearing a new beige Chanel autumn dress. Her figure was graceful and slender, and her pair of long legs were particularly eye-catching. From the frequent glances of the surrounding passengers, it could be seen that she was an outstanding person. Li Mushi, Li Mubai's second sister, a graduate of the Wharton School of Business. Although it was a long-distance international flight, Li Mushi still looked energetic, without the slightest bit of fatigue. Hearing Li Mubai's greeting, she turned her head, and a charming smile appeared on her pretty face. Dragging the dark blue suitcase, Li Mushi walked out of the gate and quickly came in front of Lu Chen and the others. Little Bai. She put down the suitcase and suddenly stretched out her hands, grabbing Li Mubai's cheeks with lightning speed from both sides. She pinched her brother's cheeks hard and asked with a smile, "Do you miss me very much?" Ouch, ouch, ouch. Li Mubai grimaced in pain and didn't dare to struggle. He could only vaguely beg, "I know I was wrong." Li Mushi let go of his hands and asked with a faint smile, "What did you do wrong?" Li Mubai cried and rubbed his face, saying, "Sister, let's talk about this at home. First, let me introduce you. This is my good friend, Lu Chen." "Hello." Li Mushi took the initiative to extend her hand to Lu Chen and smiled. "Nice to meet you." In front of Li Mubai, she was a queen-like sister, but in front of Lu Chen, she turned into a capable white-collar elite. "Welcome back." Lu Chen shook hands with her with a smile and introduced his sister at the same time. "This is my sister, Lu Shi." Li Mushi's smile suddenly became extremely charming. She opened her arms and hugged Lu Shi tightly. "When I was in the United States, I wondered what kind of person you would be. Now I finally meet you. I'm not disappointed." She leaned over and kissed Lu Shi on the cheek. Lu Shi didn't expect her to be so enthusiastic. She was stunned for a moment before responding, "Hello." The two had made many overseas phone calls before, and discussed online about the crowdfunding. Li Mushi and Lu Shi were of the same age, and their majors were the same, so they naturally had a lot of common topics. So although it was the first time they met in person, they were not strangers. Lu Chen helped carry the suitcase, and everyone left the terminal together. Li Mubai drove his all-electric Porsche F17 four-door sports car. After getting in the car, Li Mushi looked at the interior and said, "Xiao Bai, this sports car cost millions, didn't it? Now your family has cut off your pocket money, and you can't afford it. Give it to me at a 30% discount." Although the Porsche F17 is an electric car, the usual maintenance and insurance costs are still very high. If the paint of this luxury sports car is scratched, it will cost more than 100,000 yuan to repaint the whole car. Li Mushi's teasing really poked Li Mubai's sore spot. He and Lu Qin teamed up to set up the crowdfunding website. All the funds were provided by their family, but as a condition, Li Mubai would have to be self-reliant in the future. If the crowdfunding website made a profit, he could get dividends. If it lost money, he would have to starve. And this matter was not negotiable. If Li Mubai got on the boat, he wouldn't be able to get off. He said with a bitter face, "A 30% discount is too ruthless. Sister, if you want it, I'll give you a 50% discount." After the family's financial support was cut off, the dignified third young master Li really couldn't afford a sports car. If Li Mushi was willing, he was really willing to sell it. It's just that a 30% discount is too much of a loss. It's basically a new car. Li Mushi said there was no discussion. Lu Chen, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, listened and felt that the siblings were very interesting. She always felt that Li Mubai's sister was a little strange, but she couldn't tell exactly why. But Li Mushi's character was undeniable. She didn't have the slightest bit of the spoiled rich girl. She was hearty, generous and beautiful. Talking and laughing all the way, the four people came to Lu Chin's studio in Creative Park together. Although the idea of the crowdfunding platform was created by Lu Chin, the registration of the website and the application for creative protection were also in the name of the studio. However, after cooperating with Li Mubai, the crowdfunding website will be spun off to form a separate company. The Li family is very powerful. They actually rented a 500 square meter office building on the 29th floor of the same building as the headquarters of the new company, which has just begun to be renovated. Li Mushi has just returned to China. She didn't rush home immediately. She proposed to visit the studio and the new company first. According to the results of the joint consultation between Lu Qin, Li Mubai, Lu Shi and Li Mushi, Lu Qin accounted for 51% of the shares of the crowdfunding website and served as the legal representative of the company. Li Mubai invested 5 million in cash, holding 49% of the shares and serving as the company's business manager. This is equivalent to the Li family's valuation of the crowdfunding website reaching 10 million. Such a valuation can be said to be very kind, and it fully takes into account the friendship between Lu Qin and Li Mubai. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Lu Qin to get such a high valuation in any venture capital by providing only an idea, and it was more likely that he wouldn't even get a penny of investment. Moreover, the Li family is also responsible for the application for creative copyright protection. As a condition of cooperation, Li Mushi will serve as the first CEO of the crowdfunding website, responsible for the daily operation and management of the website. Lu Chen was actually very satisfied with this result. His original intention was to use the crowdfunding website as a channel platform for his own career. He never thought of investing a lot of time, energy, and money in the website to make it bigger and stronger. So, being a hands-off shopkeeper is his best choice. After taking a quick look around and returning to the studio, Li Mushi asked about Lu Chen's album. Lu Chen's debut album will also be the first project of the crowdfunding website. My album will be on QQ Music tomorrow, Lu Chen said. Tomorrow is also the official launch of the crowdfunding website. I'm still a little confident about my own project. The goal of pre-funding is 500,000, mainly for crowdfunding from fans. It's good that you have confidence. Li Mushi nodded and said, my big brother believes in you very much, and I'm also optimistic about this crowdfunding platform. I hope we can cooperate happily in the future. I'll come back tomorrow. Lu Chen said with a smile, okay, thank you for your hard work. Li Mubai sent Li Mushi home. At the time of parting, Li Mushi took Lu Shi's hand and said a lot. The brother and sister returned to the office. Lu Chen noticed that Lu Shi's look was different, and couldn't help asking, Sister, what's wrong? Lu Shi said with a wry smile, nothing. Maybe I'm a little paranoid. Let's pay attention to the situation on the internet first. Lu Chen didn't think too much about it. He turned on the computer and logged into his blog. In just over a day, his blog fans have increased by 300,000, and they are all active fans. This is the result of promotion and hype on the internet. Originally, Lu Chen didn't intend to invest much in publicity on his album, You Who Sat Next to Me. On the one hand, the studio doesn't have much available funds at present, and every penny should be saved and not used indiscriminately. On the other hand, the capital investment in media publicity is a bottomless pit. At present, he doesn't take on any notices or commercial performances. Apart from piling up the cost of the album, it doesn't make much sense to spend money in this area. Maybe he will lose money in the end. Lu Chen's album was first to show off, to prove his strength with a well-produced record, and at the same time to improve his position in the circle, so that he would have sufficient confidence to cooperate with other companies. That's right. Compared with the online sales of QQ Music, Lu Chen attaches more importance to the release of CD records. The crowdfunding website was born for CD release. But Cui Jingji's provocation succeeded in arousing his anger, or more accurately, his fighting spirit. He has been severely slapped in the face. If he doesn't fight back, how can he talk about his position and reputation in the circle? So, with the help of Qin Jinhao, Lu Chen found an online marketing company to carry out publicity and promotion. His action was actually a little late. Originally, online marketing needs time to brew, and it will go on sale tomorrow. Starting to hype now seems to be a bit of a last-minute effort, and the effect will be much worse. That's what the online marketing company said, but Lu Chen has his own ideas and insistence, and he also provided the other party with 2 materials that can be used for hype. The first material was the 3 words, "Come to fight," which was hyped up as a hot word on the internet, directly unveiling the grievances between him and Cui Jingji, to attract the attention of passers-by fans. The second material was the video of the graduation party that Lu Chen asked from the publicity office of Jianghai University. This video has been available for a long time, but it hasn't been touched before. He cut out the footage of his singing at the party and handed it over to the marketing company for promotion. The focus was on major forums and post bars to attract the attention of young people, especially student groups. In today's internet age, most of the hot events on the internet have a behind-the-scenes driver. It is impossible to promote his album on a large scale in a short period of time by relying solely on Lu Chen's own strength and the help of his fans. For this reason, the cost of Lu Chen's album has more than doubled. But the effect is really good. Whether it's the hot word, "Come to fight," or the video post of the graduation party, it is spreading like a virus in blogs, post bars, forums, and QQ groups. It is believed that with the passage of time, the effect of promotion will get better and better, and eventually Big will boost the sales of the album. Of course, this is the ideal state, and the specific results have yet to be tested. Starting tomorrow, at 7:00 p.m. on September 8, Lu Chen's debut solo album, You Who Sat Next to Me, went on sale in QQ Music. Chapter 164. The domestic internet began to germinate in the late 1990s, and flourished after entering the new century. Now it has become a huge trillion-level industry, which can be called one of the pillars of the economy. The advent of the internet era has also profoundly changed the world's economic pattern, which has had a great impact on many traditional industries. Many industries have declined or even disappeared as a result. The record industry is one of them. When portable audio music players were born and then integrated into smartphones, the traditional record industry entered an irreversible period of decline. Many record companies have transformed and entered new entertainment and new media on a large scale. Singers in the 1980s and 1990s could make a lot of money by relying on a big-selling record. Nowadays, the new generation of idol artists release records at a loss, just to brush up their appeal and popularity, and then recover their costs through peripheral products, advertising endorsements, announcements, performances, etc. Therefore, online sales have become one of the main business channels of entertainment agencies. Major music websites such as QQ Music, EasyNet Music and so on are important battlefields for singers and artists. Moreover, the sales performance of the 4 domestic music websites is calculated into album sales, thus producing the new era of Gold Record, Platinum Record, Diamond Record, and Crown Record. Online sales plus actual sales of more than 100,000, and certified by the Chinese Musicians Association, can be awarded the achievement of Gold Record. If sales reach 500,000, it is Platinum Record, and if sales reach 1 million, it is Diamond Record. As for the highest honor, Crown Record, the sales requirement is 5 million. The music websites certified by the Chinese Music Association include QQ Music, EasyNet Music, Pop Radio, and The Voice of China. The certified physical store sales of CDs are limited to Xinhua Bookstore, and online sales on eBao are not included. The reason is very simple. It is too easy to falsify the sales performance on eBao, and the cost of falsification is very low. It is impossible for the Chinese Music Association to ask such a behemoth as eBao to cooperate with them, so they simply give up. As for the 4 major music websites and Xinhua Bookstore, although they can also spend money to brush up sales, the cost is much higher. Therefore, the authority of the Chinese Music Association certification is the highest in China. Every Monday, the Chinese Music Association will announce the top 50 record sales in China on its official website, as well as the list of certified gold, white and diamond records. For most singers, it is enough to be proud to get the achievement of Gold Record. And in the judging criteria of first-class singers, a Platinum Record is essential. As for the real superstars, their target has always been Diamond Records. As for Crown Records, it is now a miracle that can only be encountered but not sought. In fact, even Diamond Records often takes a long time to accumulate to achieve, unlike in the past, which can easily sell millions or even millions of sales. The freedom and sharing spirit of the internet led to cultural piracy of movies, music, and literature that could never be eliminated. The reason why Lu Chen's first solo album, You Who Sat Next to Me, was not optimistic about online sales, in addition to strong competitors, the main reason was that the songs in the album could basically be found on the internet. Many netizens had heard all of them, so their desire to consume naturally dropped big. At 7 p.m. on September 8, the album went on sale on QQ Music. At the same time, Cui Jingji's Provocation was also on the shelves. A lot of people are paying attention to the sales of these 2 albums and the showdown between the 4 singers. Zhou Bei's A Blooming Flower album was released on the 4th, and the current sales volume was 70,000 plus. Ling Xiaoxiao's solo album, True Love is Invincible, which went on sale on the 5th, has sold more than 50,000, and the gap between the 2 is not big. So far, the results of the 2 have been regarded as qualified, without too many surprises, nor will they disappoint people too much. At least, Gold Record is firmly in their hands, but the momentum of the 2 albums is obviously insufficient. There has always been a law in online record sales, that is, the sales volume within 7 days of going on the shelf accounts for 40 to 50% of the total sales, especially the first 3 days are the most critical, which is called the 72-hour law. How well an album sells, whether it is a flop, qualified, or a big seller, can basically be seen within 72 hours. Zhou Bei's Blooming Flower and Ling Xiaoxiao's True Love is Invincible can only be regarded as qualified, and are still far from the standard of a big seller. The performance of the two has more or less disappointed those onlookers. They originally expected to see a fierce competition, but the beginning was so calm. Everyone's eyes couldn't help but fall on Lu Chen and Cui Xingji's new albums to see if the two could collide with each other and create dazzling sparks. Most people believe that there is no suspense in Cui Xingji's victory. Apart from anything else, just in terms of publicity, Cui Xingji's Provocation has left Lu Chen at least 3 streets behind, and its title song, Provocation, still firmly occupies the top of the hit list on the homepage of QQ Music, which can really be described as a rainbow. In contrast, Lu Chen is really too low-key. You Who Sat Next to Me basically has no big advertising investment. Some people have also analyzed that Lu Chen's approach is wise. Even if he spends money, his album sales will not be very good, and it will be enough to brush up his reputation. Even if he responded to Cui Xingji's Provocation with "Come to Fight" on his blog, many people think that Lu Chen is just using the latter to stir up some hype, which belongs to hitching a ride, and he doesn't really want to fight Cui Xingji to the death. The simplest proof is that there are no advertisements for Lu Chen's album on major online media, including QQ Music, but the publicity of Provocation can be seen everywhere. On the Waves blog, the hot word "Come to Fight" has been hyped up, but how useful can it be? In related blogs, forums and post bars, there are many people with the same view, including Cui Xingji himself. When the album Provocation was on the shelves, he was in the 5-star Mingdu Hotel in Shanghai. During the album promotion, Cui Xingji has brushed dozens of notices under the company's arrangement. Today alone, he has done live activities in 2 shopping malls and a Car 4S store in Shanghai. It was already dark when he returned to the hotel. He hasn't eaten yet, and his body is very tired, but he is still full of energy. The young idol artist is staring at the computer screen, staring at the list of his and Lu Chen's albums on the homepage of QQ Music, and staring at the jumping numbers behind the 2 albums, download sales. At the beginning, the sales of Provocation has steadily gained the upper hand, significantly ahead of You Who Sat Next to Me. Cui Xingji's face showed a smug smile. Xiaoji, you don't have to look. That Lu Chen won't be your opponent at all. The one who spoke was his agent sitting next to him. Interestingly, like Lu Chen, Cui Xingji's agent is also his sister, Cui Xiuyin. Cui Xiuyin was originally an artist. With the support of her parents, she has not become popular for several years. She has played small roles in several TV series, and her career has never improved. Later, she went behind the scenes and concentrated on helping her younger brother. Cui Xiuyin's appearance is very ordinary. Even if she is carefully dressed up, she is only 6 or 7 points. The advantages of her parents are basically concentrated on her younger brother, Cui Xingji. The latter shone with dazzling brilliance as soon as he made his debut. Cui Xiuyin is not jealous of her younger brother. On the contrary, she loves Cui Xingji the most and takes good care of the latter. In Qingtian Entertainment, she is famous for her tough and difficult personality, and many people dare not provoke her. As for Lu Chen, who competes with her younger brother, Cui Xiuyin is completely dismissive. With his old works, he'll be lucky if he can sell even 1/10 of your sales. Cui Xiuyin dares to say such a thing because she is very confident. Because in Cui Xingji's Provocation album, except for a few songs he wrote himself, the rest were all written by famous South Korean pop composer Lee Jung-ki. This album was also personally produced by Lee Jung-ki. Its standard can be said to be first class. The original Korean pop style is the hot song and fast song that young people like most. Whether it is the melody or rhythm, it is impeccable. Cui Xiuyin believes that with this album, Cui Xingji's career will inevitably take a big step and become a popular idol in the domestic entertainment industry. Next, he will naturally step into the film and television industry. A wide avenue of stars has been spread out in front of him. As for Lu Qin, he is nothing more than a small stone on the road. He can be kicked away. Bumping into my Jingji Appa is his bad luck. This sentence was not made up by Cui Xiuyin herself, but by Cui Jingji's fans in the post bar. Cui Xiuyin deeply agrees. Although Cui Jingji is proud and agrees with Cui Xiuyin's view, he still said, Lu Chen's strength is still there. His song, The Brightest Star in the Night Sky, is good. His other songs are very ordinary and too outdated. Cui Jingji grew up in South Korea and received artist training in South Korea. He was imperceptibly influenced by South Korea's popular fashion. He returned to China to develop and expand the market through the Korean wave. He doesn't like Lu Chen's folk songs. But if he's too bad, Cui Jingji's face showed his signature smile, then it's no fun for me to win, sister, right? Yes. Cui Xiuyin touched her brother's hair and said with a smile, don't look at it. Eat first. Don't starve. The dinner in the hotel has just been delivered to the room. She is afraid that it will not taste good when it is cold. Cui Jingji nodded and turned off the computer. He is full of confidence in his album. Just thinking of Lu Chen's response to him in his blog, Cui Jingji was really a little annoyed. I will let you know what it means to be a true powerhouse. He has even thought of the content of his blog post tomorrow. He must use facts to fight back. Isn't that thinking too highly of Lu Qin? Cui Jingji couldn't help laughing and asked loudly, Sister, what delicious food did you order for me? I want to eat meat. Chapter 165. Cui Jingji slept soundly. For more than half a month, he has been running notices in different cities and promoting his album at the same time. His daily schedule is full. He has long been physically and mentally exhausted and urgently needs a good rest. The album, Provocation, was finally officially released on the internet, and the sales results were obviously good, so he was finally able to sleep comfortably and have enough energy to deal with the next work task. It was not until 9 a.m. that he woke up. Stretching out happily, Cui Jingji put on his coat and ran to the bathroom to wash. There was no schedule this morning, so he didn't need to worry. Sister. After cleaning, Cui Jingji sat down at the desk in the outer room and turned on the computer. At the same time, he called his sister, I'm up. What do we have for breakfast? The computer was booting up. Cui Jingji couldn't wait to see the sales results of his album and read a few more blog posts by the way. He unbuttoned his shirt and exposed his chest. He was going to take 2 selfies and post them with a few words of exclamation. He believed that it would cause the screams of his fans and then ask for their support. Of course, he did not forget to step on his competitors. It was best to be humorous. A smile appeared on Cui Jingji's face. Fans called his smile, which he had practiced thousands of times, the angel's smile, and had long been used to it. Even if there was no one around. Coming. As soon as the computer system entered the desktop, Cui Xiuyin came in with a plate. I didn't wake you up because you were sleeping soundly. Are you tired these days? Try your favorite abalone porridge. It's been simmering for 2 hours. Cui Jingji was in a good mood and said with a smile, put it here. I'll look at the sales results first. Cui Xiuyin hesitated for a moment, put down the plate and said, let's have breakfast first and look at it later. Cui Jingji was very sensitive. He heard something wrong in his sister's voice. He frowned and asked, what's wrong? Cui Xiuyin reluctantly smiled and replied, it's nothing. You have breakfast? No. Cui Jingji shook his head and said, you must have something. His heart moved. Is it related to my album sales? Is the result not good? Cui Xiuyin hurriedly said, no, your sales are higher than Lu Chen's. That wasn't right. Cui Jingji was not a fool. It was normal for the sales of Provocation to be higher than that of Lu Qin. Was there a need to emphasize it? His sister's expression was even weirder. He didn't continue to ask, held the mouse, opened the browser, and quickly logged on to the QQ Music website. Cui Jingji saw the weekly sales list on the homepage at first glance, and Provocation was ranked first. Although it was only released on Tuesday night, the sales of his debut album were very good. It had sold 47,852 copies in a total of 14 hours. In just half a day, close to 50,000 copies had been sold. It was a foregone conclusion that it would be a hit. In China, QQ Music has the largest number of genuine downloads. More than 100,000 paid downloads are hot sales, and 300,000 is considered a big sale. If it breaks 50,000 on the first day, it will not be a problem to hit a total sales of 300,000. A smile appeared on Cui Jingji's face again. It was a false alarm. But in the next moment, his smile froze, as if he had been petrified. Because Cui Jingji saw that Lu Chen's album, You Who Sat Next to Me, was ranked below him, with sales of 40,970. There was only a difference of less than 7,000 pieces. How could this be possible? Cui Jingji couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't help but reach out and rub them, suspecting that he was hallucinating. In his opinion, it was already amazing that Lu Chen's album could sell 20,000 copies on the first day. 10,000 was very normal. Now it's only been 14 hours. How could it break through more than 40,000 and catch up with him? Cui Jingji suddenly thought of a question and asked in a deep voice, "How much did the company buy for me?" Buying a list has long been nothing new. In order to create the illusion of hot sales, entertainment agencies often spend money to buy sales in the few days before the singer releases his album, which will be entered into the account as publicity and promotion fees. Because it's real money, any music website will not care about buying a list, and even the Chinese Music Association will acquiesce to the results, which is regarded as an unspoken rule in the circle. After all, the cost of buying a list is very high. It costs 5 yuan to buy a complete album sales. It's almost enough to spend 100 or 200,000 to mix up a hot gold record. Any more is easy to be regarded as a fool. Buying a list is fastidious. Some buy the first day or 72 hours of sales, and some even distribute it for 7 or 10 days. Just like Zhou Bei and Ling Xiaoxiao, who went on sale a few days ago, they must have bought a list. Otherwise, with Ling Xiaoxiao's third-rate strength, how could he sell more than 50,000 sales in 3 days? Cui Jingji was signed by Qingtian Entertainment, which is famous for its wealth in the industry. This album has spent millions on promotion alone. Spending money to buy some sales is an inevitable means. Cui Shuyin was silent. An inexplicable anger suddenly rushed to Cui Jingji's head, and the string of reason inside broke in an instant. He slammed his hand on the table and shouted, "Say it." Cui Shuyin trembled all over and said in a low voice, 10,000, 10,000. Cui Jingji's look suddenly became ferocious. Deducting the number of 10,000 buying, then the real sales of Provocation album are less than 40,000. If Lu Chen didn't buy it, it means that he lost to the other party on the first day. Cui Shuyin said, "Lu Chen must have bought a list, otherwise it would be impossible for it to be so high." It's impossible. Is that true? Cui Shuyin said without confidence. Lu Chen is different from Cui Jingji. Lu Chen is an independent artist. He doesn't have any signed company behind him. He opened a small studio to operate. He is even reluctant to spend money on publicity. How could he spend a lot of money to buy a list? If he just wanted to beat Cui Jingji and buy a list, how much money would he have to spend? Is Lu Chen so stupid? Cui Jingji seemed to have grasped a life-saving straw and said, yes, he must have bought a list. How could Lu Qin not have bought a list? How could his sale surpass his own? He must have bought it. No. At the same moment, Lu Qin, who had just finished exercising in the park of the Creative Park, said to his mobile phone in puzzlement, why would I buy a list? How can I have so much money to burn? It was Qin Jinhao who called Lu Qin. The bar owner actually asked him if he had spent money on QQ Music to buy sales results, and he flatly gave a negative answer. What a joke. Lu Qin still wanted to make a profit from album sales, at least to recover the cost. How could he spend this kind of money? With money, it would be better for him to spend it on publicity and promotion. Isn't the effect 10 times better than buying a list? Qin Jinhao said with a smile on the phone, I believe you, but some people don't believe me. They all called me to ask, so I called you to ask. Since there's no such thing, then it's all right. After that, he quickly cut off the call. Hello. Lu Qin wanted to ask more questions, but it was too late. He could only put his mobile phone back into his trouser pocket. But it felt like a good thing. He couldn't help laughing and ran towards the building where the studio was located. Back in the office, as soon as Lu Qin entered the door, he saw all his colleagues in the studio, including his sister Lu Shi and Li Mubai, standing in a row, looking at him with a smile. Lu Qin was suddenly stunned. What's wrong with you? Bang! 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 The next moment, accompanied by 3 dull explosions, 3 colored spray cans were unscrewed by Li Feiyu, Chen Xiang and Li Mubai at the same time. A bunch of colorful stripes hit the ceiling and fell down, sprinkled on Lu Chen's head and body. Lu Qin said with a smile, what the hell is going on? Li Mubai rushed up, gave him a big hug and said with a smile, Brother Qin, congratulations on your album sales. Lu Qin smiled, is it selling well? After You Who Sat Next to Me went on sale last night, he didn't pay attention to the sales. He just did what he should do and pulled votes for himself in the live broadcast of Whale TV, and on his blog. Including in the morning, Lu Qin didn't even turn on the computer and ran outside to exercise. Lu Chen's mentality was very good. No matter whether the sales were high or low, no matter whether he could recover the cost in the end, he didn't particularly care, let alone worry about it.